to the pits. He will stay in, and by the look of it, it's only going to be fuel. Andrea Calderelli, number 19 Lamborghini, under investigation for a slow zone offence, possibly. Back on board with Buemi.
Yeah, would have been the last slow zone down Indianapolis into Arnage and Indianapolis and Mulsanne. Yes, for the debris. Fuoco, Schwartzman, Buemi, Estre. Is Estre just biding his time in this stint?
I don't think he can afford to, can he? I mean, everybody ahead of him is absolutely what sits to the wall. That is flat out racing.
Yeah.
He can't be a tortoise and try and hope that they break, because the reliability is such that you know, that era has gone. I think S just genuinely does not have the pace, and the Porsches have been a bit up and down throughout the race, haven't they? They've had good stints and bad stints.
Yeah, you're right. It's an odd one. I can't quite work that out.
Also under investigation, sorry, Peter, is car 5, Fred Makovicky.
I'm not sure we can make another stint plus with this tire. Maybe it makes sense to go medium.
Makovicky is under investigation as well for a slow zone possible offence, and so is Philip Hansen, number 38, the Hertz Team Jota driver.
He did. Schwartzman is under pressure again from Sebastian Buemi. Buemi's going to be in a hurry to get through here.
Schwartzman running soft tyres on his second stint, and he's feeling the tyres going away from him already. So if he has to do another one, then it's really going to punish him.
Because we heard a lap or two ago that he said the fronts aren't working, and he wants medium tyres, we understand. He's also under attack, as we've been saying, from Sebastian Buemi. Through the traffic they come. Buemi looking for a gap on the run towards Indianapolis, can't do it there. Closing up under braking now, throws the car left. McLaren staying with them rather impudently behind. That's the United Autosports car. Marino Sato, Gregoire Sosi, the two drivers at the moment of the UA2 cars in LMGT3. Right, Fuoco then, race leader, trying to build a gap. Let's listen.
Should be only very, very light rain in this sector 1. The rest is dry.
Okay, so it's coming earlier than I thought.
Light rain. Okay, just to tease the teams. And it's being picked on the lens of the camera from the helicopter. So, light rain starting to fall as we have just under 5 hours of the race to go. Great.
If you remember, many hours ago now, the first rainfall of this race, Fuoco out there on slick tyres. That Ferrari team made the right call. Yeah. Toyota put wets on. Ferrari extended their lead, and it could be the same situation, one of those 50-50 calls coming up again.
And who's going to get it right? We'll find out. Over here, looks fine, doesn't it? Sun shines, road is dry.
This is the battle now for the lead LMP2. Just saw the Vector Sport car from the lead in LMP2 on pit lane. There was a little bit of a tension in the cockpit, something on the steering wheel, and there was a 1 minute 30 pit stop. That's about 10 seconds longer than it really should have been.
In LMP2, the AF Corsa entry of Nico Veroni goes back ahead, so AF Corsa leading both Hypercar and LMP2 at the moment, so 183 back into the lead of the second class.
I am with Matthias Skip at Goodyear. Matthias, last year you equipped one car, which was the NASCAR that everybody loved. This year you moved and you're equipping all the LMGT3. Is it a new tire? Was there a lot of development?
Yeah, indeed, there was a lot of development. For us, it was a really great challenge to be selected for that category. Indeed, equipping this year 23 cars and so many different manufacturers was quite interesting in terms of development, because we are developing for a front engine, mid engine, rear engine car, which means that we need to provide one specification. And this specification needs to be quite balanced to be able to fit and to bring the right performance to each car. So we did all this development during last year, starting in March, with different test sessions for construction compound, and to come to a spec which brings this versatility.
And on top of it, this year there is no tire warmers, so we need to start with cold tires. So again, that was another challenge.
Yeah, that's something we started already in 2022, to be honest, because it was affecting the LMP2 category. But yes, last year in Le Mans, the tire warmer was still allowed. We developed at the same time, obviously, the compound allowing us to warm it very fast. And so far, we have been really successful because our tires working quite well in those conditions. But on top of that, we have performed a lot of testing with the teams during the winter period to help them to understand how to make the tire work in those conditions. So that was really, yeah, really a great job done.
Excellent. And how much is this technology going into normal road cars?
We are using them, obviously, because especially the fact that there is no tire warmer anymore was helping us to develop a tire which was helping us to it's basically really close to what a car on the road is doing. And we have been selected a couple of months ago, as OE on the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, and it has a little bit of compound from the tire we are using here. And obviously it's a tire which is it's a track day tire, to be honest.
Yeah, I heard it was working very well.
Yeah, exactly. So look, it's this race to road approach we are really developing, and which makes really sense on being in car on motorsport and having this correlation between track and road.
Well, Matthias, thank you so much, and we're going to have a very good race towards today. Thanks.
Thank you.
Three drive-through penalties coming. One is a significant one. It's the number 5 car, Fred Makovicky. It was and still is. Slow zone procedures. Also the 19 car, one of the 2 Lamborghinis. That's the car in 12th place. And the 38, that's another well-placed car. The 7th place car, Phil Hansen. So slow zone procedures for all 3. All 3 will be coming down pit lane.
Buemi over the line.
I think potentially those 2 Ferraris have to pit this lap.
Okay, and that would put the Toyota into the lead, assuming it stays out. Fuoco's advantage 1.4 seconds, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot at all on that 235, Graham.
If Peter's right, they're catching at the moment a gaggle of LMP2 cars, which they should clear on this lap. But after that, it could be a clear lap for Buemi just when he needs it.
2 laps to go, 2 laps.
Okay, so that was delayed, so... Okay, so it's 2, it's not this lap, it's the lap after.
So a 91 car, this was our, it still is by the way, our leader in LMGT3.
Richard Lietz, the man with the most starts to his name in the race this year, is behind the wheel and will stay behind the wheel, the Porsche Maestro. Replay here of a rather energetically driven Lexus cannoning up the inside. Which one was that, Graham?
That is the 87 car.
You're quite right.
Yeah, these are the 3 front-engine GT cars plus the rear-engine GT car, mid-engine as well in amongst their slot, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder turbo and non-turbo cars.
That got Augusto Farfus out of the way, who won't take kindly to that.
Oh, 7-cylinder, I should have mentioned, the Lamborghini. That is a filthy Huracan. Buemi dropped back a bit here from Schwartzman in the latest lot of traffic. This is that gaggle of P2 cars I was talking about.
Some breathing space finally for Schwartzman there. And probably some more.
Yeah.
So unlucky there twice, Buemi. He'll be on the radio complaining about that.
Now we're going to get calm, said calm at some point here. It's a regular. Keep Swiss Maestro on the straight and narrow.
Just watching them through that approach to Indianapolis is mighty impressive, especially perhaps now we've seen 3 cars be bitten at that part of the racetrack, but it shows you just how fast they are and the commitment that's required.
And it is that latter part of it, the commitment. They surely should be, a lot of them.
There is Augusto Farfus then in number 31, the pseudo Luigi Jeans liveried car.
So I was thinking that when the Lexus came down the inside. If he took the place and didn't give it back, he probably would have got a penalty for that, because he forced him off the track.
That's a switch, by the way, for third position. That is Farfus going up into third.
Yeah, at the expense of Esteban Masson.
He did indeed.
Through goes 63 Lamborghini for 13th. The Lamborghinis just haven't had the pace. They flattered to deceive early on when the engineers made the right call on times for the conditions, but they're just not quite at the party yet, are they?
Their first appearance here at Le Mans. There will surely be more to come.
Yeah. It's great to have Lamborghini at this level again. I mean, Super Trofeo has been a massive success. The GT3 program has been a massive success.
And it's astounding that a company of that quality, with that level of brand awareness, this is the first time we've ever seen them in the top class at the Le Mans 24 Hours.
I mean, go back, what, 20 years-ish? The Lamborghini present here was that joke of J-Lock, wasn't it? A car that staggered its way barely to the grid.
Well, here's the thing. We've had two non-classified finishes from Lamborghinis in this race's history. Lamborghini have never officially finished this race.
Right. That's going to change today, isn't it?
It
Sure.
looks that way. There's 4 bullets in the gun now. The Unlinked number 60 car, way back. The Iron Dames, never say never.
Yeah, they're still fighting.
But 2 hypercars as well. Either way, any of those come home, and it's history for the brand.
James Collado, by the way, pitted last time, having been pressing on throughout that stint, trying to get back onto terms with that leading group. Kevin Estre lapping fractionally faster than Sebastian Buemi last time around. Buemi picking up a track limit warning. Out wide runs the Lexus. Peugeot through on the inside. Blue flag waved. There's Farfus, another veteran of the event.
Yep, Augusto, one of this crew in the 31 car that took the first ever win in any class in the World Championship this year.
That's the James Collado pit stop I was mentioning. And he blasts away on new tyres.
So I think we've heard one of the Toyotas is going to box this lap as well.
8, I think.
8 car.
Yeah, for fuel of possibly the tear-off windscreen.
That's interesting. So, yeah, the Ferraris do three more laps than the Toyota on this thing.
But windscreen, when we've been on board with Buemi, it's so smeared. He was told not to use the wiper if the rain started. I think it's because he can't see.
Right.
They're going to have to bring him in and peel off that tear-off windscreen. And while he's in, they're going to have to make that pit stop work to their advantage and put some fuel in. So it's not that he can't go the distance on the fuel, it's that he can't see, and that's compromising the pace, so I think.
It's just going to bring him back on the same strategy as the Ferraris, it looks like then.
I think you're right, yeah. So they're going to have to sort of think on their feet, Graham, aren't they? And, OK, this isn't a scheduled pit stop. How can we limit the damage?
It's simple. Can I attack? No. Why can't I attack? I can't see. If that's the problem and that's stopping the attack, let's sort that problem.
Makes perfect sense. Getting a replay in hypercar here of the Toyota having to swoop through the traffic.
That is Kamui Kobayashi. That's
close.
the second Toyota, trying to get back on the terms with Kevin Estre and doing a pretty good job of it.
And his windscreen's not perfect to see through, but he's faring better than Buemi. Still, Fuoco leads the way by now 2.2 seconds from Robert Schwarzman. And Buemi's pace has been tempered partly by the Ferrari here, but partly by visibility.
Are we going to see these Ferraris in this time?
They are heading through the Porsche curve, so pit in is not far up the road. Buemi is the one we expect in from the Toyota ranks, but up front, Ferraris, we'll see if any of them bleed to the right. Under the Porsche gantry, the Porsche footbridge, and in comes the Toyota. There is a car ahead.
It's a Ferrari.
There's 2 cars ahead.
Yeah,
so yeah,
both
Ferraris. Yeah.
So your top 3 are all in, 50, 83, and then 8. 2 Ferraris and the Toyota. So that's going to put Kevin Estre into the lead, but by default, not pace.
Estre on lap 14 of his run, so he's probably got another 3 laps left.
Oh, he's in as well, and so is
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi. So your top 5 all in on the same lap now.
Wow.
Well, this should cycle Earl Bamber back through to the lead.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I'd rather forgotten about him. Having led, he got shuffled down the pack.
He's basically almost exactly halfway through his stint.
Yeah. But he's out of sync with the others.
Well, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out, isn't it?
Yeah, and who's going to be ahead when the flag falls.
You know, whether or not it's a count-back situation, even if you've got a situation where you've got a caution, is he going to be the guy with enough fuel in the tank not to have to take the splash? all sorts of cards in the game here.
In 4 3/4 hours, we will know the answer. Pretty
Eight
much.
goes.
So the incident between the Lexus and Farfus and the BMW is under investigation now.
Right, Buemi's on his way up the pit lane. 50
Fuoco
Fuoco
is.
has been released, so the Ferrari should keep the lead. I think the loser out of this might be Schwarzman. They're going to be side by side in the pit lane. They've just gone out of the camera shot. 83 was moving and just is ahead. Now, we didn't see what the merge into the lane was like, but the outcome is that it's still Ferrari, Toyota.
I think it was just about okay.
By the speed they're going, Schwarzman didn't get the new tyres that he wanted. So he's got another stint on those soft tyres.
And he was complaining about them not working before, and they won't be any fresher now, that's for certain.
So Earl Bamber does indeed cycle round to the lead, something like 7-8 seconds ahead of the first of this pack. That is Antonio Fuoco. Schwarzman is backing up this Toyota off the number 50 car, whether he's doing that by positive action or necessity is another matter.
So this now gives Fuoco a chance to try to get away from Schwarzman and therefore in turn from Buemi. You're riding with Buemi, and visibility an awful lot better now.
Isn't it just the other car to sort of keep an eye on? James Collado, who was on the attack beginning of this stint, fallen right back now, has got nothing in this phase of the race.
Well, he's only just pitted, hasn't he? He's fresh into a stint.
But he was previously just a couple of seconds behind Estra and Kobayashi. He's lost something like 10 seconds plus to that battle.
Let's see if he took some new tyres. So 51 car.
Well, I thought we'd seen him put tyres on, which would account for the longer pit stop, which would account for the time
125,
loss.
yeah.
I'm sure he put new tyres on. Schwarzman and Buemi under investigation for their driving behaviour at Marshall's post 27. That's coming Arnage Porsche Curves direction. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced, Graham, that the Collado time loss was for new rubber. Because he was doing purple sectors in that last stint.
Well, we should then start to see some blue sectors emerging from James Collado, because he'll want to be back with this group sooner rather than later.
Totally
It
agree.
is still 4 hours and 43 minutes to go. This probably does feel like a sprint race, and it's still an awfully long time and distance before we can call who is going to win this great race.
Right, Buemi looking ever more committed to the task of getting ahead of that yellow Ferrari now that the visibility is there. And the Toyota's just looking so strong. Toyota knows how to win this race, and in a positive way knows how to lose it, as in it knows what pitfalls to avoid now.
Absolutely.
In the background is Kevin Estra, then you've got Kobayashi, then Collado, and then 8th, Fred Makovici. He's another one that's really lost out because he was second on that restart, remember?
Because he's had to take that drive-through penalty, so he's dropped back further in the 8th place, and is dropped, by the way, into the clutches of the Hertz Team Toyota car that didn't have to take a drive-through penalty, because the 38 did, 12 did not, and is right with Fred Makovici for 8th position.
And Schwarzman getting away through the Porsche curves from the Toyota, just gapping Buemi. Up front, though, it is Bamber ahead of Fuoco, and we can listen to Fuoco right now.
Okay, mate, so at the moment we have Cadillac number 2 just ahead of us. It seems they put less fuel, so they will have to stop before.
Message gets through to Antonio Fuoco. Earl Bamber's last lap was a 3 minutes 30, and Antonio Fuoco goes through, but of course that is an out lap effectively, so it's a slower lap that included some of the pit stop.
Please, I heard that, because when we saw the energy graphic, and it'd be good to see that again shortly, Earl Bamber's energy down to 53%, and it didn't seem that long that he'd been out. If they're saying he's short fuel for track position, that would make sense of that, which presumably means they're counting back.
Yeah, I think you're right. There
8
is...
laps into his stint.
Okay,
How
Makovici
many
versus
laps?
Will Stevens.
8. That's right, then.
Eighth and 9th, the two Porsches, the Penske Motorsport entry Makovici, the Jotec run car of Will Stevens behind, and look at the way Schwarzman on this lap has responded, because he's pulled away from Buemi. At Indianapolis last time, Buemi was all over the back of Schwarzman like a cheap suit, and now not only is the yellow Ferrari getting away, but Estre looks just a fraction nearer. Trouble is, he's dragging Kobayashi along. They might have to think about going defensive against Toyota number 7. Talking of number 7 Toyota, Kobayashi at the wheel, radio traffic thus.
Okay, we need to triple stint this tire. We need to triple stint this tire. Second stint for this tire.
Sorry, what is it?
I don't think Kobayashi's overly pleased about that suggestion. However, he is getting up with Kevin Estre, isn't he? So that Porsche can't stay with those ahead, and Estre is going to have to work hard to keep Kobayashi at bay.
Yeah, there wasn't news Kobayashi wanted, was it? He needs to attack now, and he needs to attack one of the most aggressive attacking drivers on this circuit. Looks to just feints the inside, goes to the inside. He's going to take that position. Kobayashi, despite being told he's got to look after those tyres, moves the number 7 car up and into 5th place.
And to do that against Kevin Estre suggests the Porsche's not 100%. But look, Estre then gets a toe and makes the move on the inside. Kevin ain't taking it lying down. Traffic up the road. He's got the inside line on the approach to Indianapolis. And Kevin Estre flashing his lights at the slower car, saying, "Do not get in my way." Hems in the Toyota, that then gets blocked by the Inception McLaren. Kobayashi had to back out of that, so Kevin Estre retakes the place and with judicious use of the traffic manages to stuff Kobayashi and get away by about 3 lengths.
Chargeoff just did not see the second hypercar, did he? He's at an outlap, by the way, in the number 70 car that led the race early on in LMGT3.
Well, Kevin Estre, the car may not have the outright pace, but he's not forgotten his racecraft this morning, has he?
Great stuff. Ceded the position to the Toyota, but fought back with a bit of run through Mulsanne corner, got the run down and the run down to Indianapolis, side by side, took the side draft, used the traffic to perfection, job done.
Right, this is Kobayashi in the meantime, who then now is trying to fight back as the cars work their way toward the end of lap 238. Earl Bamber still the leader on the road with 11 seconds in hand at the moment over Antonio Fuoco's Ferrari. There is 8, that's Buemi. So he's still chasing after Robert Schwarzman. And there is Kevin Estre. Now, what's the gap between Buemi and Estre? It's only 2.8 seconds. Kevin Estre's lap will be an interesting one here. Buemi goes through on a 3:33. Kevin Estre breaks the beam eventually. And the lap time has not yet been offered up, perversely. Now it comes, and it is a 3:32.2. So he's over a second a lap quicker than Sebastian Buemi all of a sudden.
But he's got traffic now. Buemi is hammering along as well. It's an LMP2 car ahead. So listen what's going on with the number 8 Toyota ahead.
Cannot believe how unlucky I am in the traffic.
Yeah, you got the pace. You'll get him back. Don't worry.
Sebastian Buemi getting a bit rattled, isn't he, now?
It's hashtag standard.
Well, yeah, but
it's what motivates him. He is one of these characters who just seems to feed on stress. He's looking for the stress. He wants the stress.
We just point out the last lap from Earl Bamber, 3:30.8 versus the 3:32.
how much of that is because he's a fair chunk lighter on fuel now?
Quite a chunk of it, but it's 3 laps he's done that to them. He's drawn that gap out from 7.9 seconds to 11.8 seconds. 11.8 seconds at this point. This is the in-car from Kamui Kobayashi as that move came through into the Indianapolis section.
That was really committed stuff,
wasn't it?
And
just
brilliant use to, a way of reading the road, knowing exactly where he needed to be and where he needed to leave the Toyota.
Yeah, Fred Chandorf had to take the corner, didn't want to go to the outside there. We see what happens when a GT car does, and it isn't pretty.
Eventually 7 goes through. Frederick Chandorf, of course, is trying to drive his own race. Yes, he's got to be mindful of the traffic, but he also needs to be going as rapidly as he possibly can in class. That car badly delayed early on with radiator damage. Meantime, the gap is right down again between the Porsche and the Toyota. Estre under attack. This is where it kicked off a lap ago, and they're going to be nose to tail this time. Kobayashi on the prowl. There is traffic up the road, but I'm not really sure Estre can use it to his advantage on this lap like he did a lap ago. Let's see.
Cadillac looking to use their speed in this phase of the race to get away, and doing so at the moment. Fuoco trying to keep that in check. Side by side though, David.
Kobayashi had another long look, but Estre is able to fend him off. Up towards Indianapolis corner they come. Kevin Estre under huge attack from Kobayashi. Let's listen in.
Quite some movement from the rear with his tires. The balance is not too bad, but some movement.
So movement at the back of the car for Kevin Estre then, saying that the balance is okay, but there's a lot of movement.
Yeah, it sounded like it. So he is on... What stint is this on that tyre?
For decades, this was a race of survival, gentlemen. Now it is a sprint race, and it is a race of survival, but the survival at the moment is staying with this group, because anybody can win this race that stays with this group.
Yeah, you've got to stay on the lead lap all the way, haven't you? And be in that sort of leading peloton. The gaps are there or thereabouts, but there's still a good chunk of cars on that lead lap.
Again, Earl Bamber in the Cadillac, fastest first sector. He's really putting in the lap times. 2 seconds up.
Yeah, personal best lap for that car.
I think they sense, Cadillac senses that this is their chance.
They've got this one, they've got one bullet left in the gun. It's Earl Bamber, he wants redemption of what happened last time out. Cadillac want this race as much as anybody else does. General Motors, one of the biggest companies in the world, would like to win the biggest race in the world. Why wouldn't they?
I mean, it would be a great story. You use that word redemption, but after what happened at Spa, to come back and win Le Mans for Earl Bamber would be quite something, and to do it for a different manufacturer from his previous 2 wins. Here, though, through the traffic comes Kevin Estre as they sweep downhill. And once again, it's a Toyota that ends up being boxed in behind the Mustang, so that just stretches the gap a little bit.
It's very important in these situations that you don't take any late dives, because that could end your race instantly.
So you're on board with Kamui Kobayashi. I mentioned a while ago Sebastian Bourdais out of the race. He's with Bruce Rani.
Seb, I spoke to Ranger earlier, and you three guys must be very disappointed with the result. It was super strong in quali, and now that's always hard in the morning to give up.
Yeah, I mean, the race wasn't going exactly as we would have wanted it to. I think right away, I mean, we started on soft, so we knew it was going to be a bit difficult. We were hanging in there, and then you saw the Toyotas, you know, like flying and getting back to us, and then the third Ferrari, and it looked pretty clear that, you know, we're lacking a bit of pace, mostly in the straights. But anyways, but we fought through, and we got a little lucky with all the safety cars that kept bringing us back in the game. And then again, it looked like it was going to bring us right back in the game there. And unfortunately, there's a bolt that started to back out and then drilled a hole in the old tank. So that was that. Didn't take much, but yeah, we're unfortunately 2-0 at Daytona and Le Mans this year, so it's frustrating. But the whole Cadillac guys did a really good job. You know, we fought through, and the sister car is still running strong, so we're hoping for a good result for Cadillac.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But weaving his way through traffic, that is ceding a little bit of this advantage to his opposition, but of course they've got to do the same when they catch this bunch of LMP2s. Earl Bamber from Antonio Fuoco, Robert Schwartzman, Seb Buemi, Kevin Estre and Kamui Kobayashi. Let's get aboard the number 7 Toyota, find out what's going on there.
Kamui, let's be patient, we get him. We will get him.
Yeah, just to keep pressure, man. I know what I need to do. I've been here so long. No worries.
That's not quite like Kimi Raikkonen's "leave me alone, I know what I'm doing," but it's on the same vein, isn't it?
It's what I touched on earlier. You know, there's no sense to with 4 hours 30 to go to take any stupid last-minute dives that could end your race instantly. You've got to be there at the checkered flag, and I think Toyota will be.
Yeah, we've got Kobayashi in this hunt with Kevin Estre ahead. Seb Buemi closing again on Robert Schwartzman. Quicker on the last lap by better part of a second, and that's down to half a second again. The battle for third. Wants to get by the yellow Ferrari, wants to get into the battle with Antonio Fuoco. Senses that will be the battle that determines who's going to win this race.
Absolutely right. So we are approaching 11:30. Earl Bamber still leads, but running out of sync with the cars chasing after him. He's getting lower on fuel. His last lap was a slower one, but it might have been affected by traffic, having done personal best laps for the car. A little bit of time lost last lap through. Second place, Antonio Fuoco, Robert Schwarzman third, and then Sebastian Buemi fourth, Kevin Estre fifth, and sixth you just saw Kobayashi. There is the Schwarzman-Buemi battle for third place.
It is indeed. Lead battle, by the way, it's hovering around the 10-second mark with that traffic involved, but the battle that seems to have the most dynamism at the moment is the one we're looking at. It is Robert Schwarzman trying to get away from Sebastian Buemi, Le Mans rookie in the number 83 car, against multiple winner of this race, multiple world champion in a multiple world championship and Le Mans winning team, Toyota Gazoo Racing and Seb Buemi. Traffic again as they come through the first chicane.
Buemi looking for a place to strike if he can find one. Gets up past the GT3 pack. Still Robert Schwarzman ahead.
If you were looking to put money on any of this pack that would not make a mistake, you're with him right now.
Yeah, 4 times a winner here. Buemi, Formula E champion, ex-Grand Prix racer. And Robert Schwarzman, one of the young guns of sports car racing, who has proved his worth both in these and in a GT car, keeping him for the moment at bay.
4.5 hours to go, 19.5 hours done. It's 11:30 in the morning here, the Circuit de la Sarthe, and Sebastian Buemi attacking again, just trying to distract the younger man as they come into Mulsanne corner. Picks his line beautifully. See Fuoco ahead there. He's now dealing with those LMP2s. What's Buemi hearing or saying now?
Listen, just for your info, we plan to triple stint these tires. We plan to triple stint them. I know you've already pushed on them, but we need to push and triple stint.
Go for the inside briefly, just feints to the inside. Can't do it there. Through Indianapolis and down now to Arnage. Traffic still ahead of this pair. And more still in the distance, with Fuoco still bottled up in these P2 cars, and that is allowing Earl Bamber to pull the gap over 12 seconds now. Important minutes, Peter, in this race. It's defining the kind of rhythm between these 3 or 4 cars in what remains of this lead group. It was 7. They've now pulled away from Kevin Estre to the tune of about 6 seconds. Birthday boy AEFA talking on the radio.
We're saying interview by Louise just shortly after his last stint. I was not ever expecting to be racing at Le Mans on my birthday, but what a birthday it's been so far. And this car, the car he shares, the yellow Ferrari, but right now Robert Schwarzman under intense pressure from Sebastian Buemi. And you're probably right about Buemi. Of all the guys out front at the moment, he's probably least likely to make a mistake, but he's not going to be in the car right towards the end of the race necessarily. Let's hear from the number 2 caddy that leads the race.
Box this lap, driver change to Polo.
It's a stunning job from Earl Bamber in this stint. He started the race after the safety car in the lead. He's ended his stint in the lead. He's obviously going to lose position during these pit stops, but he's pulled a gap on the cars behind. He's just eked out an 11-second gap.
Yeah, he's pulled, since he took the lead, pulled out something like 3.5 further seconds, inherited a lead of about 8 seconds when the cars on the different strategy pitted, but he's gradually pulled that out. Redemption day for Earl Bamber.
And we knew that the car was fast after qualifying, after hyperpole, so we always figured the caddy had a chance. And all it takes is another full course yellow in the right place, or a little bit of luck with traffic and safety car, and suddenly their off-kilter strategy could be the same as everybody else's. The closer we get to the end of the race, Peter, there is a definitive end. 12 hours ago, there was nothing really definitive and everything could be fluid. At some stage, they're going to have to go, right, at this moment, we're going to need not to have run out of fuel. So all the teams are desperately now back timing. Where is the next possible opportunity that they can make use of a full course yellow or something to take fuel and try and win this race?
Okay, mate, we expect some showers. In half an hour, there will be some showers. So next stop, we plan to keep you in the car. Same tires, only fuel.
So that is the problem they're facing. They can't really do the timing and right. If it was going to be dry for the rest of the race, they could say, right, you're in then 3 stints, you're in then 3 stints, we'll end with you. Easy. At the moment, we're going to be getting mixes of range. You're going to possibly going to have more cars off you, possibly going to get safety car. All kinds of things can happen, and the race could be, it could restart after with 1 hour to go with the top 6 cars all in a row again.
Well, now that David Addison is having a pause and isn't going to incur any safety cars on his own, which I think is against the regulations anyway, we might be in for a little bit of a clear run, but you're right. I mean, again, with this race, nothing is ever decided. And of all teams, Toyota, of course, know that. Here's the car that remains in 7th place, or 6th place, rather, and still very much within striking distance. Look at those gaps. Well, you know, there's a minute covering the top 8 cars.
This is, they're now stumbling through the group that's contesting 4th place in LMP2. 3 cars pretty much line astern. United Autosports 22, the Cool Racing 37, the 183 from AF Course. So that's cost each of these chasing groups and hypercar time, as what it would with traffic. There's GT cars under the mix as well, but it's giving Kamui Kobayashi, having to look after his tyres, the opportunity to again close up on the Porsche, but that didn't help. Cool Racing's 37 car trying to make his own move there, did so, but it did rather ruin the opportunity for Kobayashi to get a run on the Porsche. In comes Earl Bamber.
Yeah, it's going to be a driver change, so Earl is out, and Alex Palou, as we heard, will be getting in, the double Indy 500 champion. What a baptism he's having here at Le Mans. I mean, going to Indy for the first time is an awesome enough event, but coming here for the first time as well must have just left him a little bit breathless. He's done a really strong job with that number 2 caddy. First race of the season, Sebastian Bourdais was aboard that car with Earl Bamber and Alex Lynn. Since then, they have driven it as a duo, but that's not really survivable in the modern era here at Le Mans. 61 years ago, when Roger Penske was on pole with Pedro Rodriguez, 2 drivers was the norm, but that was much more of a race of survival. This is a brutal sprint race.
I'm going to correct you because you made exactly the same mistake I made in the previous broadcast when talking about Alex. Has not won the Indy 500, has been on pole, but he's double IndyCar champion.
Yes.
Sorry, IndyCar fans, I've made the same mess of that.
Yes, you don't need to throw any more bricks at the TV. You're probably going to miss because you're tired as well, having been up all night. Robert Schmalzman in 2nd. There's Kevin Estre in 4th. Let's get down to the pit lane and catch up with the Caddy team. But here is the team radio.
Earl, fantastic drive. You pulled a 12-second lead, 12-second gap after the restart behind the safety car. Well done. How does it feel for the end of the race?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the car's coming to us. Didn't have a great car yesterday, but overnight we managed to tune it up, and I think we've got the pace now. Now let's see how the strategy rolls, and we're just going to give it our all. You know, this is what Cadillac came here to do at Le Mans, is to lead these laps and try and win this race, and we're in a position to do it, so we're going to give it everything in these last couple hours.
Redemption from after Spa, so well done to you.
Thanks.
Huge accident in Spa that brought out safety car for an hour and 45 minutes. Earl Bamber just misjudging traffic on the run up from Eau Rouge and leading on up the Kemmel Straight as he was chasing the 99 Proton Porsche, clipped the 31 BMW hard into the barriers, long barrier repairs. We thought, okay, race is over. Ferrari thought they'd won it, and then turns out, no, if there's time, you can do the time that you've lost behind the safety car. So we had a 6-hour race that lasted 7 hours 45 minutes, and in the end, of course, the number 2 Cadillac wasn't part of it, and they've served a penalty early in the race for that incident, and still they are on the opening page of the chapter. 50 Ferrari now leads from the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari. Toyota in 3rd and 5th with the 6 Porsche between them. That's a car that's led as well. 51 Ferrari in 6th position, and right now on the lead lap are the top 10 cars. So the Cadillac drops down to 10th place. That's how tight it is. Puncher front left, Kamui Kobayashi now. Is he feeling it, or is it just an alarm coming up on the dash? Peter, he's going to get the alarm anyway, whether he feels it or not. But that was a perfect time on the way back from Arnage towards the pit lane, as opposed to coming up here with 13 kilometres to do.
You can see that front right as we look at it, front left in the car is bouncing more and more. So TPMS, the tyre pressure monitoring system in the car, picks up the loss of pressure, so the driver knows first, the box knows as well, because they get the information back to them. And yeah, I think he's in the right place. It could have been something like that, yeah, running over a curb, just one little cut on the tyre and it just loses the pressure.
The inside of that curb, drew it along the inside of that curb.
There's so much debris on the track as well after various different incidents, and you know, it's always possible that that's been an issue as well. So is that the moment of fortune that denies them the race? It's going to put them in a very different position to some of their rivals, although they will now be on the same fuel strategy as the number 2 Cadillac, which has just stopped well within half a lap of them, because they will undoubtedly have topped this car off with fuel as well.
It's going to be interesting to see where he comes out in comparison to the Cadillac.
Also, do they just put the one tyre on?
I would think they probably did, because otherwise they're going to be...
There goes the Caddy.
They're going to be digging into tyres that they're going to need in the remaining 4¼ hours of the race. Of course, the left front will be stone cold, the others will have grip, so that's why the car's going to wash out as he tries to turn right, because that laden left front wheel will be very cold. No, look, all 4 new softs, so a full set of softs.
I think it's probably the wise move, because it's brought, as you say, it's brought him back onto strategy with the Cadillac. So maybe not all is lost. It's certainly set them back, but 4 hours and 18 minutes to go.
It's a 3-minute 30 lap. They're 1 minute 25 behind the leader. They're not a lap back. They're not half a lap back. They're a sector back. That's the top 10 in one sector of the lap. I mean, if this is going again like in 4 hours with 18 minutes left, it's hard to imagine that the top 10 won't still be there.
Hard to imagine if your voice will still be there.
Well, there's that too. There is that too.
Tyres ready for the 50 car as well. Brand new Michelin rubber ready for that car. For me at this stage, it does seem as if the Toyota doesn't quite have the punch to get onto terms on pace with the Ferrari. I say that, it's going to get past him now, isn't he?
Well, what do you mean get on terms? He's literally breathing in his exhaust fumes. He is on terms.
But he can't, he's not been able to get alongside and put the move on and make it stick.
So you mean he doesn't have an advantage?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so that's what racing in traffic is all about, what racing over 24 hours is all about. These cars are all operating at exactly how they were designed, exactly how they were homologated. No plus or minus power, no plus or minus weight, no brakes here, no brakes there. Everything as it came off the designer's drawing board, metaphorically. So they should be, if the teams are operating them properly, going at exactly the same pace all the way through this race. And these teams, as well as these drivers, are now up against the hard limit of this is 100% efficiency of running this car. And so you have to force an error in traffic, or you have to make a gap in traffic for yourself that the other guy hasn't, and that's what makes the difference.
Boy, have they been trying. Here comes the Vector Sport car. What a run they've had. They come in again. Patrick Pilet from the lead in LMP2. Head of interior pole competition, last year's winners, and EDEX Sports. Jofferuta bringing in the 28 car. Those top 3 cars all on pit road right now.
And again, Graham, in LMP2, the top 5 cars covered by 27 seconds. That's less than the time it takes to cover the shortest sector here from the start of the lap to Tertre Rouge. So the entire LMP2 field, when the leader gets to Tertre Rouge, is coming through the S's. That's how close that field is.
It's half what a drive-through costs them.
Yeah.
That's the key here. That's why you can't make an error. Through into the lead, Nolan Siegel in the United Autosports number 22 car, ahead of Ritomo Miata and the 37 Cool Racing car, and Nico Ferroni, a winner last year in GTE AM. There
Number
goes
10
34.
car didn't get started properly. Is that going to be considered unsafe?
No.
Possibly not. I think you just about got away with that. And Peter Dumbrek, another second slower away if he hadn't managed to get it in gear or get the traction, and they might have incurred a drive-through, and that might well be the difference between being on the podium and not.
Yeah, essentially.
Trouble for the 59 McLaren. Stopped down at, I think, at Indianapolis.
Looks like it. That's between... that's out of Arnage, isn't it?
It's out of Arnage. Has pulled over. Driver's left.
That's on public road, so there is a hard shoulder and a bit of a grassy verge.
That car was very much in contention for a podium position. Gregoire Saucy it is.
So he was in 6th position. Oh, was in fifth position.
He's been as high as 2nd or 3rd in that car. Fred Macco, by the way, on pit road. And, they are getting ready. That car looked like it might have been on an in-lap. Nico Pino was ready to take over the car. What a turnaround in terms of pace they've had with the McLaren's United Autosport.
And again, that's all about operating the car. Brand new car to the team in this format, and a whole new set of challenges, different races. We saw that as well with the Codis ASP. Extraordinarily experienced GT3 race team, but on tracks that they're not familiar with, in rule sets they're not familiar with, it's taken them a while to get the car up to pace. It was absolutely nowhere and beyond nowhere when we were in Qatar, the season opener, and here at Le Mans it has been competitive. So too has been the McLaren.
And the Mustang. The Mustang,
absolutely.
Running 2nd at the moment, the undelayed 88 car, with 4 hours and 14 minutes to go. Who would have written that script?
Yeah.
First time since 1997 we've seen a Mustang of any sort here at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Back then, it was the Saleen Mustang. Full course yellow.
We will go under full course yellow in less than 15 seconds. Full course yellow in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, full course yellow.
This will be, I'm sure, it's obviously for the recovery in 59, but they will be taking the trouble, I'm sure, for a general clear-up around.
Now, the other deal with full course yellows is, although the relative distance between the cars on the circuit remains the same because they're all doing 80 kilometers an hour, in this section of track, you would normally be going less quickly up through the Dunlop chicane and down through the S's than if you were hooning on back down from Arnage through the Porsche curves, or if you're on the Mulsanne straight. So cars that are caught by the full course yellow there are initially losing less time. Now, it's not likely to be a short full course yellow. It's probably going to take, several minutes, which will probably mean that most cars will do a lap and that will even itself out. But if it is a short yellow or a slow zone, then your rival can lose more time potentially than you do. So for everybody in the lead battles, the longer the full course yellow goes on, actually the more even the effect will be.
The big factor here is that any car that is due a pit stop gets to do it during the full course yellow. Any car that 1 lap ago, 2 lap ago, 3 lap ago did their stops, they will then lose time. So the 83 car is due a stop. That was 50, the next driver waiting.
And 8, and 6, and 51. So they can't do it now. They're going to have to wait 5 minutes before 50, 83, and 8 have the opportunity. That's your top 3 with the GT3 car in the middle. But will they take it or will they stick with track position?
We saw it was going to go back to green at the top of this minute. It's now going to continue, so there's a further issue they want to work with. Peter?
So I'm thinking the number 2 car, who has already stopped, will potentially lose out from this.
I agree. One of the cars that will gain, mind you, just having a quick chat offline to Anthony Davidson, if you're running slowly, as this full course yellow comes out and into that zone, you'll gain. And the battle that includes the number 7 Toyota, and 7 Toyota in particular, will gain from that net. But we are going to continue a little longer.
Well, it depends how much longer, and it depends how close these top 3 cars are. 50, 83, 7. They were all down around 10 or 12%. So another lap out, nominally from a pit stop. Under full course yellow, maybe 2 laps out from a pit stop. But as you can see, they're on the Mulsanne straight. They're coming out of the first chicane. So they're not going to pit under yellow.
No.
We will remove full course yellow in less than 15 seconds.
Number 5 has left the pit lane,
8,
but
7,
no one is
6,
in. Oh, yes, they are.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow removed.
LMGT3 leader Manthey EMA got into the pit lane under full course yellow, so they at least started their service under full course yellow. They're in lap when everybody else was going much more slowly.
Sebastian Buemi, he's looking racy all of a sudden. Itchy trigger foot, and looking to see whether or not again he can put the frighteners on Robert Schwartzman. It's not worked so far.
20 hours into the race, that's the top 3. The red Ferrari, the yellow Ferrari, and the black Toyota. 4 hours of racing to go. If they were this close 2 hours into a standard WEC race, we'd think, oh, this is a great lead battle.
On the outside.
Buemi, has he got enough heat?
He's got it. He's got it.
Oh, does he stay there? Can he avoid running wide? He can. So he moves up in a second ahead of Robert Schwartzman. Now, I'm assuming they are all on soft tyres, but Buemi now ahead of Schwartzman. His next target is the overall race leader in that red number 50 Ferrari, Antonio Fuoco. And here comes Schwartzman trying to pile the pressure on the Toyota.
Get in there, Seb. Go, baby.
Enough said. Well, the rear gunner for the lead car, the 83 car, did a great job of holding off the Toyota for lap after lap after lap, but all of a sudden now has to be the chaser.
I think that's absolutely unfair. They're not the rear gunner for anybody. That 83 car is out to win this for themselves. They're not part of the same team. And the tyres apparently are what let Robert Schwartzman down. I'm not sure how long they've been on the car, but we are within a lap or 2 of all of these top 3 heading into the pit lane. In fact, most of the top 10. So the 2 cars that are slightly off sync who recently stopped, number 2 and number 8, or number 2 and number 7 rather, the Cadillac with the blue nose and the number 7 Toyota. There's a great onboard view of that pass, and yeah, team liking that.
Unless my body clock is completely letting me down, I think Buemi's got to go another stint on these tyres. I'm not sure about the Ferraris, but I'm pretty certain that he was told he was going to do a triple, and he was in his first run with them. This is it the second or the third stint?
You are correct, yes. So that's the second stint. He's 10 laps into his second stint.
He was told he had to triple those tyres.
Schwartzman is on 3rd. See, that's the difference. Schwartzman's on his 3rd stint already on his tyres. So they're already starting to drop down on him, and that's why he's struggling to keep the pace with the Toyota.
But it's again another one of these parts of the strategy that will pan out as you count back. Who's going to be on the tyres that they can attack with in the final hour?
Yeah.
Well, the Toyota and the 83 Ferrari are only a lap apart on tyre, aren't they? And so they will probably pit at the same time. And if there is fresh rubber in store, then again, this is where you need to have saved something behind the safety cars in the rain, using those wets. You need tyres in the locker. we talked about this all week long. 20 hours to stay on the lead lap, 4 hours to win this race. We're 7 minutes away from that, and the battle to win this race is already alive. Here's the entire LMP2 field coming in as well.
It's 1, 2, 3 on pit lane. 37 for Cool Racing, 183 from AF Corsa, and the 22 United Autosports car. Now it's a race on pit lane.
How many times has Francois Perraudot won this race as a driver? That might be something that we need to know in 4 hours. Sam Smith, get that stat ready for us. Cool Racing as well. Well, they're having a really strong run with a 37 car. 47 has been their problem child, but Matt Bell still at the wheel of it. It is still going. They've refused to concede. And here now is the car that cycles round to the lead of the race. Patrick Pilet, the local driver in the number 10 Vector Sport car, ahead of Clement Novalak by inches.
The answer, by the way, is once.
Only once.
And 3 other podium finishes, and he's not won in LMP2.
No, he's spent much more time in the GTE AM category in AF Corsa Ferraris, but hence AF Corsa running this car for him. They do in the European Le Mans Series, or the 183. There's last year's winners. How many years have we had back-to-back winners in LMP2?
I can't think
I
we ever have.
I know.
I'm not sure we ever have. The only ones that may have done it is Alpine. But I think we may have had back-to-back from Alpine.
Yeah.
Certainly 2 wins back in the old formula for RML back in the day. Hello back at home, all the RML boys and girls.
Yeah, the fabulous Barker boys. But Patrick Pilet leading Clement Novalak. 2 French drivers, one in a British flagged team, Vector Sport, and one in a Polish flagged team. And not much to choose between them either, Peach, in terms of tyres. Both on the only choice they have, which is the Goodyear medium, and only 4 laps older for the Vector Sport car. But that's not going to make much difference because they've already lost that initial bite. Now it's about driver belligerence here, isn't it? Either holding on or making your way through. This is exactly what we just saw in Hypercar with the Toyota and the yellow Ferrari.
The thing is, I think Pilet's got a lot of experience around here, obviously, and Clement Novak is relatively new. He's still quite young, isn't he? So he's got a good sight ahead of him of Pilet to look at the lines, to look at the braking points, and then to maybe pull out a pass into one of the chicanes.
Buemi in the pits now. He's the first of that top 3 to stop. He was a couple of % lower on energy, but that's not enough to get you around this lap. It's not enough to get you around Spa. Might be enough to get you around Mallory Park, but I don't think that's entirely relevant. So I suspect 83 did not come in, but 51 has. Number 8 car has been reporting vibrations. Now, with the panic for the number 7 car, with that tyre letting go to puncture, maybe they were just worried about that, but they believe they can turn the car around in the pit lane with full service faster than Ferrari.
Collado in the pits from 5th place, also in Will Stevens from 6th, and the lead of the Hertz Team Jota cars. They're still in this if we get a caution at the end.
Here comes the number 38, so too number 8 on its way. So Sebastian Buemi comes in, goes back out. Now we'll wait for a moment or two for our Michelin screen to update itself to discover what they did do with tyres. And there's a change. Clement Novalak has gone by Patrick Pilet. We didn't see it happen, but there is a change for the lead. Last year's winners into Europol with 4 hours remaining in the race. And a mistake by Patrick Pilet into the Antonio Felix da Costa exit trench on the second part of the Indianapolis sequence. And Clement Novalak kept it clean and went through.
This is up for grabs in LMP2. Just looking back, it is 1, 2, 3, 5 cars within 30 seconds. These 2 within a single second.
Yeah, top 6 covered by 28, so that is the battle in LMP2, unless, again, pit stop sequencing removes some and pushes others into that frame.
My apologies, it's 6 cars within the 30-second bracket. It's 5 cars within 20.
Riding on board with Sebastian Buemi. fresh out of the pits. And what does the graphic tell us? Where is he in terms of tyres? Did they put 4 new on? Did they do left sides only? Or has he still got the tyres that he had on before? Let's hear from the team.
6, but it needs to cycle through. We need to push. We need to push.
Right, where am I? Who am I behind? He recognises that it's the Cadillac, may not recognise that it's the number 2 caddy. So, okay, where am I now? Where did we come back out? And who's that in front of me? I know who's behind me, because that's the sister car, number 7.
That's the car that's made the progress here, because that's far, far closer than it was before this pit stop cycle to the 8.
Phil Hansen leads for Hertz Team Jota in mighty 38, ahead of the number 2 caddy, Alex Palou, and then Toyota threatening 3rd and 4th, but ahead of all the other Ferraris.
38, I think, has just been in and out of the pit, so it is now Fuoco leading von Schwartzman from Estra. 6 seconds separates to the 3. It's a warning flag for driver behaviour with car 8 to
car
83. Fuoco on pit road. Every pit stop counts now. Every single one have to be inch perfect.
Yeah, Fuoco is in, Schwartzman is in, and Estra is in. The top 3 on the road, 50 Ferrari, 83 AF Corsa Ferrari, and 6 Porsche. And they were 6 seconds apart, 1st to 3rd.
We've had more drama then in the 2024 24 Hours of Le Mans. And first it was in LMP2, the number 24 Orica having yet another incident. It's been in the gravel twice, this time in the barriers. Slithered across the circuit and came oh so close to being clobbered by the GR Racing Ferrari. Number 24 then limping its way back to the pit lane. Kiffin Simpson, the driver, and more time lost. But he wasn't the only man in trouble. Felipe Nasr had a big off coming into Indianapolis. The road damp after lots of overnight rain. He was caught out and hit the barrier very hard indeed. The Porsche skittling its way across the gravel. The tyre barrier doing its job and absorbing the impact, but that car out of the race. The marshals went to work. They cleared the incident zone, but they didn't have long before another accident in exactly the same place. Daniel Mancinelli, in the heart of racing Aston Martin, upside down, having again been caught out by the wet part of the racetrack, going across the gravel, hitting the tyre barrier, and that launching the car upside down. Daniel okay, but absolutely mortified. The car out of the race, and this was how he did it. He ran wide, trying to give the hypercars room on the inside to lap him. He was caught out by the wet into the tyres, and that just launched him upside down. Lots of damage, but the good news, none to the driver. Daniel Mancinelli walked away unhurt, but the car very badly damaged, and this was how it looked from on board. An anguished cry from Daniel Mancinelli in the background. He knew what was coming. The car was righted, then it had to be removed, and also lots of shards of bodywork needed to be swept off the circuit as well. So that was a safety car that was called, and there was more drama around the corner for Cadillac. First up, it was for number 3 as a bolt sheared and went through the oil tank, and then 311 with Pipo Derani at the wheel had another big impact into the barriers. That limped back to the pit lane with a huge amount of damage, and it rather delayed the restart. Earl Bamber pitted, and Fred Makovici led Antonio Fuoco. Porsche led Ferrari.
Here at Le Mans. Now, Ingo, you've had the partnership with WEC since 2023. How is that partnership going? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. The partnership is growing on the track and also outside the track. So we are partner of the Le Mans race, and that's very fantastic for us, for the emotional communication of the brand. And on the track, we are supporting a lot of technology. For instance, of the hypercars, we support the hybrid system. That means we sell the electromotors, the brake systems, the inverter, also electronic stuff. And also in the field of the GT cars, we have a lot of customers here that use our components.
Okay, so let's look specifically at LMDH, because you supply the complete units to them, or the complete system. So where's the difference, and how does that transpire?
So you have two different race categories. You have the LMH race category, the LMDH race category. LMDH is a spec system. That means every OEM uses the same hybrid system. And our part of the game was to be the system integrator of everything. And the LMH, the customer is more free to choose their own components.
And how has this Le Mans been for you so far?
It's crazy. So first of all, it's a huge event. We meet all the customers, come here all over the world. We have a lot of discussions, very positive discussions, and we try to support our customers as good as possible, and we like this event.
And in terms of what you do, where is the future? What is happening in the future in racing and on the road?
So from our side, we have a good step with the hypercar series, with the hybrid drivetrain. And what we see now is also discussions that's ongoing about hydrogen. So that might be a topic in the future. So we had the chance to show here our hydrogen car that we set up together with Ligier. And ACO is planning to introduce a hydrogen series. So also besides the hybrid part, we are really excited to take part in the hydrogen future of the Le Mans race series.
Great, thank you, Ingo.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
4 hours to go in the 2024 Le Mans 24 Hours. Is the race playing into the hands of Toyota? They currently run in second and third position, just 6 seconds behind the number 2 Cadillac. And that car being driven by Alex Palou is on a slightly different fuel strategy. And here's a position change. Number 7 coming by, that is Kamui Kobayashi, passing Sebastian Buemi, and there's the race leader. They are closing on the Cadillac, and Kobayashi is taking up the running ahead of Buemi.
I think if we get a replay of the start of this lap, you're going to see why that started to happen. Anthony Davidson told me he spotted. This is the smoky finish, I'm afraid, for the 83. Driver change was still going on, but smoking very heavily from the front end. We presume that, I think that is brakes, but whether or not they're actually, there was certainly there was a fire in the brake disc on the left-hand side. But what Anthony Davidson spotted with the Toyotas is coming onto the straight. Seb Buemi believed he was coming into a slow zone. He wasn't. It was a yellow flag zone and hit the anchors. Kobayashi had to avoid him.
Wow. And that was nearly the second time the number 7 car has run into the back of somebody unexpectedly slowing.
Kamui now, big push, you need to get the Cadillac. Big push to the Cadillac now.
In morning warm-up yesterday, Nick de Vries was looking down and adjusting his dash in the Porsche curves, and a Lexus, a GT3 Lexus in front of him, checked up suddenly. He ran straight into the back of it. Imagine if that had happened in the race to these two Toyotas. 8 damaged in the back, 7 damaged in the front. And here with the potential to be going 1-2 at the end of this race, boy oh boy, sometimes luck has to be on your side. They may have dodged a massive bullet there.
Toyota, both cars in this fight. Ferrari, both factory cars still in this fight. Caddy with the number 2 car trying to head for the hills with the Le Mans rookie at the wheel.
Look at your timing pylon on the left-hand side, all the way down to the number 38 Hertz Team Jota Porsche in 9th place. Those cars are covered by 1 minute and 26 seconds. That sounds like a lifetime. It's a third of a lap. And they're not all on the same strategy. They're not all on the same tyre life. They're not all on the same amount of fuel in the car. So this race is a 4-hour, 8-car arm wrestle for supremacy. And it's not all going to be down to who does the best job behind the wheel. Sometimes it's going to be down to who guesses the situation right. If rain arrives, if we get a slow zone, if we get a full course yellow, if David Addison triggers yet another safety car, any of those things could just tip the balance for or against. Last year's finish was a titanic battle between the 51 Ferrari and this car, the number 8 Toyota. And in the end, it was youthful Ria Hirakawa just pushing too much, maybe down at Arnage, dropping the car briefly off the road. That's what gave enough respite to the 51 Ferrari to be able to get clear and survive, not restarting properly in the pit lane. But again, it's that fortune for the 51 and the fact that the car did restart, despite it having an issue that they'd never encountered before at any stage running the car. It's those little gems of luck that make the difference, because there is nothing in terms of performance or ability of any of those 8 cars that says, no, there's no chance they're going to win this. They could all win it.
Yeah, 250 laps now completed in the 2024 24 hours of Le Mans. It is Cadillac Racing lead Le Mans with Alex Palou. He's 5.6 seconds ahead of the 2-car train of Toyota Gazoo racing cars. The 7 from the 8, Kamui Kobayashi from Seb Buemi. They're separated by 3 seconds. A further 7 seconds to the first of the factory Ferraris. James Collado in the race win defending number 51 car. He's got 2.4 seconds ahead of the team car at the moment in the hands of Miguel Molina. Then it's the first of the Porsche Penske Motorsport cars that have been so dominant in terms of pace, but they've not been able to deliver it here this afternoon. 11 seconds back, 35 seconds further back, the first of the privately entered Hertz Team Jota cars. That's your top 7, and that's about a minute.
2, 7 and 5 are on a different fuel strategy to the rest of that top 8 group. The rest of them all came in effectively as one on the same lap, because they are running as one. But 2 and 7, number 2 Caddy stopped a lap before the number 7 Toyota. That was forced in with a puncture, so it was immediately off the fuel window of car number 8. And the number 5 cars maybe another lap, maybe another 2 laps back. So there's going to be 2 little groups, the 4 in the middle and 2 at the top and 1 further back. As you rightly said, Graham, the Porsches are ranked up. You've got the Caddy out front. How many American overall winners have we had? How many Cadillac wins have we had at Le Mans? Well, I don't think there's ever been a Caddy outright winner.
No.
American car outright winner, American manufacturer,
last one would have been Ford.
In the 60s. And yeah, that will be the most recent. Then we got the 2 Toyotas, 2 factory Ferraris, and 3 of the 6 Porsches that started this race, all in the hunt. It's going to be a mighty, 4 of the 6 Porsches, I beg your pardon, 2 from Penske, 2 from Hertz Team Jota. It's going to be a mighty, mighty battle.
Unless you think that's the only drama here, it isn't, because the lead battle in LMP2 is 1.1 seconds. The lead battle in LMGT3 is 1 second between Maurice Schuring in the Manthey EMA Porsche and the Team WRT BMW. This is a magnificent motor race by anybody's standards. It's not just that I love endurance racing, it's great racing.
A little earlier yesterday we were saying, what's happening with LMP2? It's normally fireworks, and when there were very few cars in the top class, we always looked to them for an epic battle. They hadn't really produced it. Well, they'd been going about it a little under the radar because it had been so epic in the hypercar class, but the racing is just as close as ever. And you're right, 1.1 seconds into Europol ahead of Vector. EDEC in 3rd, United there in 4th place, 0.6 ahead of the Cool Racing car as the Lamborghini hypercar comes through. And by the way, hat tip to Lamborghini, that 19 car still running strongly. And so incidentally is the 11 Isotta. The Isotta in 15th place will soon pick up 14th as it goes by the stranded 83 Ferrari. And if that car gets to the end of the race, what a fantastic result for Gilles Duquesne's little team that runs the engineering program.
This is the car that led so long in LMGT3, the 92 Manthey Pure Racing team, down in 13th place, does not look like making it home. Both Lamborghinis are still running, both Peugeots are still running, the Isotta Fraschini is still running. They may not have had the ultimate pace, but they're learning with these packages, and they will be back and they will be faster.
Yes, talking to the WRT team yesterday, one of the journalists was asking, why do you keep persisting with the number 20 car? Because we need data. It's a brand new car to WRT. Yes, the BMWs were running IMSA last year, but for them, it's all about the learning, and whether it's classified as a finisher or not. Again, we talked about this in the night, Rob Bell, the number 77 Proton Mustang. The team are now in that we refuse to be beaten by this race and this team.
Okay, Kamui, 4 laps to go. Next stop, driver change to Jose.
I try, but very easy to catch up.
I try, but didn't get much of that, I'm afraid.
I think he was just saying that the Cadillac was quick. He's trying his best. He's actually put a purple sector in sector 1 on this lap. So he's telling his guys, look, I'm trying, pedaling really hard, but actually the Caddy's quick.
There is the leader in LMGT3, the orange and black Porsche, and there is the second place car, Augusto Farfus in Hunter Killer mode in the 31 BMW.
It's been anybody's race. Porsches have been very strong, but we've had the BMW coming back to it here, Rob. We've had the Lexus coming back. They're running third. We've had the McLarens running back. This is beginning to come of age, this LMGT3 class.
It is, but every time I've sort of looked at the screens, these two cars for the last little while have been ahead. And in fact, that Porsche has been so consistent throughout this race. And I would imagine Richard Leeds yet to get in that to finish off. And what a guy you'd want. So I still think it's advantage Porsche, but it's been an absolutely brilliant battle. And, you know, that's going to be the case till the very, very end, I'm sure.
You look back in the history of this race, even in the modern era, you'll see many races and classes with several laps gap between the leading cars and the cars composed of the podium. We were talking to Anthony Davidson about the 2014-2015 era, and even there 2, 3, 4 laps in the context of the performance of the Isotta Fraschini, which is just gone a 6th lap down, and that is less than the gap that was between second and third back in 2014.
Yeah. These cars are so brutally reliable and efficient.
Copy, Seb. We don't expect much, but thanks for the info. Copy, Drizzle.
Right.
I guess newer tire in the drizzle is better. And if it rains after, would not have brought much.
329s for the 2 leading cars. Alex Palou, 329.949. Kamui Kobayashi, a 329.366. Both of them fastest laps for that individual car. The gap, 5.8 seconds, 3 hours, 45 minutes to go.
It's brutal, cudgeling lappery, isn't it? Absolutely bludgeoning the other guy, trying to make him make a mistake. And again, hats off to Alex Palou with all the experience that Kamui Kobayashi and Sebastian Wemby can bring of this track and of their cars in this type of racing. For him just to be able to keep his head clean above water and still maintain that 6-second margin, it's a fantastic testament to his ability. And here again you see another battle in LMP2. United's 22 car inches ahead of the Cool Racing 37. Rio Miata all over the back of Nigel Siegel and still can't find any advantage, big or little.
Absolutely right. Cadillac with grand plans for their motorsport future, but if they manage to bring this one home, it will be by far the biggest motorsport result for that brand's history ever.
Well, Briggs Cunningham really started the ball rolling, but that was before Roger Penske ever had his first pole position here 61 years ago. Briggs Cunningham brought Cadillac with essentially slightly modified sedans and a thing called the Monster. Go and have a look at it. One of the most brutal devices ever to take to the track here at Le Mans. An extremely odd-looking 1950s thing. But you know, that was a whole different generation, 2 different, 3 different, 4 different generations of Cadillacs ago. They missed out on pole position. What a fairy tale it would be if the number 2 car came back after that shocking crash in Spa with redemption and finished on the top step of the podium. Those are the sorts of stories that sport produces. They're the sorts of stories that this sport produces and this race produces. There's no guarantee it's going to happen, but there are so many potential fairy tales waiting to be written here.
Well, the reality is, whoever wins this race is going to have earned it, because it's been one hell of a battle, medieval level battle. Yet really wielding the big hammers, whether it's Cadillac, whether or not it's Toyota, whether or not it's Ferrari, whether or not Porsche can pull something out of the fire, or even Hertz Team Jota.
Ritomo Miata getting alongside Nolan Siegel. I'm sorry, I said Nigel, no, tired man. Alongside Nolan Siegel, just getting a bit of an overlap, and then it couldn't happen. And Rob Bell, when you do that, when you commit to something that doesn't work, often you're worse off than if you hadn't tried. But every time you try, every time you show yourself in the mirror alongside or coming alongside, you just sow another little seed of doubt in the driver in front.
Fastest lap of the race goes to Alex Palou. Extraordinary lap, 253, a 3:28.93. Apologies, Rob, I cut across you there. It's not quite matched, but it's the fastest lap of its race, Kamui Kobayashi, as these two are just trading blow for blow. Rob Bell.
And actually they're on a very, very similar strategy, so they're on just coming towards the end of their stint, or not, just after half of their stint on soft tyres, and the soft tyres were new at the beginning. So actually both of those cars at this time of day are absolutely flying, and you can see why. But going back to your point about overtaking, and if you come across a car, you're right, if you stick the nose in and it's sort of a half-hearted move where you don't quite pull it off, actually it's quite bad for you, lose momentum, but you are actually giving this signal to the car in front that, you know, I'm here and I'm sniffing and I'm going to stick my nose in, so I'm coming through.
I'm with Pierre Vittard, sustainable leader from Michelin Motorsport. Now, Pierre, we've spoken to Michelin a few times throughout the race, but the main question is, how important is motorsport to Michelin?
So for Michelin, motorsport is a sustainable accelerator of innovation. So we are using motorsport in order to make our innovations more sustainable, and to use it in order to make it happen in extreme conditions, test and learn, in order to make all our tires more sustainable.
Okay, and we've got some examples here. So just tell me about what you're working on right now, and sustainability is the key.
One of our main pillars is the renewable and recycled materials. So this is why we developed and we revealed the 71% of renewable and recycled materials tires on hydrogen prototype Mission H24, in order to prove that we are able to work hard on this new type of technologies. And thanks to this work, we are pushing our technologies in our motorsport tires that we are using today in the 24 hours of Le Mans, like these wet tires, in which we have 45% of renewable and recycled material still today.
And where does that go in the future? What's the goal?
So we have several goals, and regarding the renewable and recycled materials, our goal is to achieve 100% of rate regarding this tire in 2050. So motorsport is really here to work hard on this topic and to be able to develop here in a large scale.
Wonderful. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
But he will save fuel getting a tow from the 50.
Both Ferraris, by the way, track limits on the middle sector, so matching the lines lap for lap, sector for sector. Let's have a quick listen in to what's going on with Ferrari.
Let me go.
Look, it's entirely sensible. I know you don't want to give it away, but there's 3.5 hours out with, and how quick is that clock moving now, suddenly after being stopped all night long nearly. 3.5 hours to go. You don't want to let him go by, but if he is genuinely faster, first of all, you're possibly denying Ferrari a win. Secondly, you're not helping yourself. Alex Palou will stay in, fuel only this stop for the race leader.
And a new fastest lap of the race goes to Kamui Kobayashi as he sweeps through into the lead. 3:28.756.
Wow. And that is on Palou's in-lap. Palou was not quite the fastest car on the track on his in-lap, but Kamui Kobayashi is now the fastest car. For the 50 and 51 Ferrari, let the 50 go by, sit behind him, save energy, use his toe, use his speed to improve your speed. Work together. You're going to be better working together. Look how Toyota are working together. You know, they're sitting in the toe, pulling each other along. Two cars together, Rob, will go quicker than one on its own.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point here is both of these drivers are paid by a manufacturer. You know, it's not about you. It's not about the driver in this instance. We all want to win Le Mans, but it's not about you. So actually, you've got to do the right thing for the team.
So have they swapped? I think they have. Look, there's the 51 car pulling over to one side down the straight. It did swap. 50 goes through. So it didn't take them long. It took them under a lap to make that call. Now, the radio message was possibly second, third or fourth or fifth or sixth of that traffic, but certainly Ferrari want to win this race, Toyota want to win this race, Porsche want to win this race, Cadillac want to win this race. Caddy's got one dog in the fight. If you've got more than one, then you can well use them.
I think what's persuading them to do this is the pace at the moment of Kamui Kobayashi. He's gone purple again in the first sector. He's pouring on the pressure right now. So we're listening to what's going on with James Collado.
Time is gone. Time is gone. I'm trying.
Well, the number 50 car, Miguel Molina. Molina only took the car over half a dozen laps ago, and he's on fresh softs, whereas James Collado has been on these since a week last Wednesday, in his opinion. How many laps has he done on that soft set?
Well, he's only a stint and a half in, so actually I'd have expected him to do another stint after this.
Well, I wonder now if what limited track temperature we've got is now pushing up out of the window where the soft is really the call, and we're going back to where we were at the start of the race, potentially onto mediums. And then the question is, the medium has been the tyre that, at minimum, that you've wanted to run apart from night time. Who's got what mediums left, and how soon can you beg and borrow and steal a set of mediums from your team to get onto the car without being in danger of running out at the end? So it's all about tyre management, energy management, traffic management, managing the expectations of the teams and drivers, controlling their sometimes rampant emotions. Just slow down, let's take another look at this. This is what we're going to do. We're back on planet. Track temperature 18 degrees. I mean, we're just easing from soft into middle of, you know, lower parts of the medium temperature range.
But maybe if just James can hang on for a bit here, and then the next stop they go on to mediums, actually they could almost finish the race on the medium on that set.
How many laps does he have to do? How many has he done so far in 51?
He's on lap 7 of 8 of this stint.
4 more to do after this.
Correct.
4 more to do after this. So the number 2 car, there was no tyre change for the number 2 car of Alex Palou, the earlier leader. 38, the last car in this battle, mighty 38. Phil Hansen being warned about track limits as well. That's a final public warning, and 2 Toyota products came in together, the Lexus and the number 7 car. So as we assumed, within a lap, number 2, number 7 pitting together. So Kamui Kobayashi handing over to Jose Maria Lopez. And again for Lopez, what a strange season this would be. Moved out of this car, which he drove last year. Nick de Vries put in. He's been the standard bearer, the talisman in the Acodis ASP Lexus team. Because of an injury to Mike Conway, he's back in the number 7 car. Imagine if your only race of the year for your old team,
absolutely right,
or with your old teammates, was a win at Le Mans. I mean, another fairy story just waiting to be written.
There absolutely are storylines galore that could come from this, and they're all good, all of them. It's an epic race from Toyota. It's a fantastic race from Cadillac. What a stint from Alex Palou.
Well, in contrast to, for instance, the 1970 race, which was horrendous weather in appalling conditions, never stopped, never safety cars, but every car was probably several laps away from the next car ahead and astern. In all of our classes, these cars are relentlessly close. They're as close probably now as they were at the end of 3 hours, and we've barely got 3 hours left to go, and it's not a 6-hour race. There's been 18 hours in between, and again, as we say so often, unless you throw it at the barriers or hit something, these cars just keep going. More rain just hovering over the circuit, very little bits. Let's look over to the left-hand side. That's the danger. That big blue blob 12:30 local time, and we need to keep dry until 4 p.m. But do we? I mean, I don't know what happens if it rains. Nobody knows. That's the great unknown, unfortunately. So if it comes, it comes. If it misses us, it misses us. Either way, I think this race is going to be an epic finish.
Thoroughly enjoyable, engaging and engrossing Le Mans in 2024.
Well, wherever you are, however much or probably little sleep you've had, and I'm sure there'll be an awful lot of people at 3 a.m. have gone, I just need to get some rest for a couple of hours, like the rest of us. This is definitely worth watching to the end. If you've never seen a Le Mans 24-hour race before and you've got no idea what's happening, because it's not as simple to follow as Formula One, where you see the Dutch guy and you just watch him win, this is a whole different way of going racing, where cars are much more even and many more people actually have a chance of winning. It takes a long time to get there, but oh boy, when you start to get this drug, it's very hard for it to leave your body.
Let's make it clear, a Dutch guy could still win, but he'll have two other guys with him. So we'll listen in to Team Jota.
Nice one, keep pushing, mate, keep pushing. 4 laps to go.
Yeah, they've got Will Stevens trying to get onto terms with Alex Palou and trying to get on the back of this group. Drive-through penalty, meanwhile, for car 92. That's the delayed Monza Pure Racing team out of the top 10, and that's not going to help their push. Seb Buemi leads the race by 6.3 seconds from Miguel Molina. James Calado is dropping back from this battle.
And away from the leaders, fastest race lap of all for the number 5 Porsche Penske Motorsport Porsche 963, Michael Christensen. So again, he is in that lead battle. 1 minute and 20 seconds, cover those top 9 cars. And look at this, 4 seconds covering the top 3 in LMP2. Cool Racing, United and AF Corsa, the Pro-Am leaders. Now again, you've got these guys who were 4th and 5th earlier on, and they are now the leaders. Ritumo Miata leads Nolan Siegel, but as they then need their fuel stops, the guys who have just stopped, literally just stopped, who were in front of them, will pop back up. It won't necessarily be this lap, but it will happen.
It's Vector Sport into Europol EDEC Sport in the opposite order, at one strategy level against Cool Racing, United Autosports and AF Corsa, and who knows what's going to happen. We've been green for a long time now.
Up, yellow.
Medium.
Yellow side, actually, no, that's the Michelin logo. Is that a white? Is that white band? That's a white band. That's soft, those are mediums, okay. Yeah. So, flip a coin. So, both sets in the 51 garage, so they do have softs. Well, again, the teams and the drivers will know what is going to work best at these track temperatures, and it's not likely, I mean, look at the sky. Where's the clear blue? Where's the sunshine? When I came out of my caravan a little earlier on, there was actually sunshine. I could feel some warmth in the air, or from the sun, but that's long gone. We've had spots of rain, and there is potential for more to come. So I don't think it's going to get to be a hot racetrack. So there is potential maybe that a soft will last. Will James Calado like having a soft on? I'm not sure that he'll be entirely keenly disposed to do another double stint on softs that have already gone away halfway through this double.
Well, after your sentence, I'm glad they haven't got any hard compound tyres to use. But yeah, look, I think in this instance, this is down to the drivers. This is a driver's call because you've got the feeling in the car. And often on the softs, yes, you can do a lap time, but you feel it moving underneath you and it spooks you a little bit. It's not a nice feeling. So they'll go with the driver's feel on this.
Alessandro Pierguidi suiting up, and you just saw their teammate watching. So Antonio Giovinazzi is out of his hands at the moment.
Keep in mind you need to protect the front right. We need to protect the front right.
So we are therefore learning from that message, Rob, that the soft tyre is starting to get to the extreme edge of its operating window.
So what the engineers will be looking at there is screens telling them what tyre temps are. Tyres temps and tyre pressures. So if they see that the tyre temp of that front right is just rising a bit too much, that could lead to excess tyre wear, and that tyre will then die very, very quickly. So they're just reminding the driver, look, don't overload it, look after it, and towards the end of the race or end of the stint, it'll look after you.
Yeah, hello to Gary Critcher watching in Nairobi in Kenya. I think you've probably got a little bit more sunshine than we have here. Could you hustle some over? It could be an entertaining end to the race with Toyota being chased by 2 Ferraris. Last year's race winner in 3rd place, the car that finished 2nd. Currently is our race leader, but again, the fuel strategies are slightly different. The 31 BMW that now has just stopped Augusto Farfus down to 3rd in the LMGT3 field. That's the red and white striped BMW there. Manthey EMA, Maurice Schuring back to the top of the pile, and Dennis Olsen stopping the 88 Proton competition Mustang on this lap for its most recent service. Glad to see that the turquoise 77 car is still going, despite losing nearly 3 hours having a steering rack changed and then getting nerfed off the track by an LMP2 car that caused more damage. It may not be classified as a finisher, but the team are in that belligerent frame of mind where they're damn well going to get it to the flag no matter what else happens. They don't care, it's just not going to let them down.
7 seconds ahead is the leader.
Wow, 3 laps and 7 seconds ahead is the leader. So there's the message to Miguel Molina. David Addison, so far, a little bit of green flag running. The track is dry but chilly. The air outside isn't exactly encouraging a lot of warmth, is it? I know it's sort of slightly foggy in our commentary booth, but outside it's a very different proposition. It's not been the most benevolent of weather forecasts for the last 2 days.
But there is in the air a kind of air of electricity now, because everybody knows that this is going to, you made the point, it's going to come down to the wire. You have Toyota versus the 2 Ferraris. You've got Lawrence Van Voort, best of the rest in number 6 Porsche, doing his level best to stay in that battle. And if the weather conditions change, then who knows? And there is yet more rain forecast. But we've said this over the course of the last 20 hours. All the forecasts that we've had since we got here have been wrong or not been strictly as predicted. It's changed on a daily basis.
Yeah, but also during the race, the time span when the rain arrives and how long it's going to last has changed as well. What we're seeing from the radar is not light showers coming. What we're seeing from the radar is the sort of rain that brought out the stupendously long safety car that you left me with and trotted off to bed.
Yes, did you enjoy it?
I loved every moment of it.
I was thinking of you.
Unfortunately, you weren't.
Briefly.
You were thinking of Z, 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 and Z. Unfortunately for the poor audience, it did get a little bit off the rails, but it was the middle of the night here in Europe, and that's. I know it's prime time in a lot of zones, which is why we're so delighted that in the modern era we're able to cover the entire race instead of all the cameras going off at night and everybody trucking off and then coming back and see if there's anything left running. Those were the old days. That happened in Group C. Now though, everything is still running. And genuinely, Rob Bell, unless the driver's thrown it very, very hard at another car or with equal determination into the scenery, the car will still be running after 24 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a devolution with the cars the way they are. They get tested so often. All components have been evolved over the years to just be that bit more reliable, and yeah, we're seeing it now. You just got to look at the racing, and we still got top 10 cars on the lead lap in hypercar, and similar in GT3.
Up 6/10 this lap, gap 7.7. Great job.
Very big vibration.
Well, I think he is probably due to. Is he due to bin those tyres, or is that? I don't think it's the first stint on those tyres, is it? So Sebastian Buemi will pit this lap, and there is the Manthey EMA GT3 leader in the pits as well.
Rob Adder is the Chief Marketing Officer for Porsche, and we've got, what, 3 hours 20 remaining of this Le Mans 24 hours, and it is always exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We're racing for nearly 21 hours, and I think now it's 11 seconds to the top, so we are super excited for the final stint.
And you've got such an incredible setup here in the paddock. We've got Mark Webber over there. He's watching the race. I've seen so many past drivers coming here and being a part of it for this weekend. Is that part of the Porsche family?
Yeah, I think, I mean, Le Mans is like the second home for us. So the whole Porsche family is here. Our customers love it. So we have customers from all over the world. So far, we had 4,500 visitors at the Porsche Experience Center. So think it's a very exciting program that we can offer here.
What can the fans see from a Porsche point of view? Because of course you've got the Porsche S's.
Yeah, I mean, we have the permanent experience center here with the open house where every Porsche customer can go. Then of course we have the Porsche Curves, legendary, like a barbecue campground. We have a new hospitality, the welcome lounge, and we have a little pit lounge just ahead of the pits. So exciting views, and I think exciting program for our customers.
Now, when you think of Le Mans, you think of Porsche's involvement over the years. It was GTs, LMP1, now hypercar and GTs as well. What is it about Le Mans for you?
For me personally, I would say it's the atmosphere at night, so how special it is and how many people gather here. I mean, again, we will see, I don't know, 300,000 people around here, definitely. And as you said, the different classes, so we are also still hoping for the 911 to make a very good race. So it's really a family gathering for us, and we're fighting for the 20th victory, and keep fingers crossed. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, thanks a lot.
Number 6, Kevin Escher, 1 minute 16 on the pit lane, fuel only stop. Behind him in the background, the 51 Ferrari, 1 minute 29, fuel, new tyres, full service driver change. So that's the 13-second gap that dropped the car that James Calado there, furiously rehydrating, had over the number 6 Porsche. And of course he's going to lose much more time now because the Porsche came out on hot tyres. The 51 Ferraris are stone cold. There are no tyre warmers here, unlike Formula 1, which is not supposed to have tyre warmers this year either in the great scheme of things, but they decided otherwise. So Calado is going to lose much more time on the outlap because there is no grip for the car. So, and in these cold conditions, that heat up is going to be tough. Puncture for the number 7 Toyota.
Front right slow puncture, front right slow puncture. Pressure is still okay.
Race leader is in, Sebastian Buemi, number 7 is following him as well. Pressure is still okay, which means don't carry on, but press on, and you don't have to slow down to get back to the pit lane. But that is the second puncture for the number 7 Toyota in, well, it feels like half an hour, probably is half an hour. Driver change for 8, taking on Brendan Hartley. Oh boy, another twist in the tail.
Now, why is it happening to 7 and not 8? What are they doing differently that makes 7 more prevalent to punctures than 8?
I don't know, but Buemi did twice report vibration in the number 8 car. It might have been pickup, it might have been something else. They didn't come back and say, yeah, low pressure warning lights on or something. He would have seen that anyway. But that cycles Miguel Molina's Ferrari back to the top of the pile. That car still on soft rubber. What's going on the Toyota? White sidewalls there. It was on softs. White sidewalls, it remains on softs. Now, temperature-wise, the track seems, for Ferrari at least, to be going away from the soft, but if there is misty drizzle coming, the softer tyre, which will retain its heat longer, might be a great call. It might also be, actually, that the Toyota's just a fraction more gentle on its tyre than the Ferrari, and as a result, can live with it just a little bit longer.
The new set of softs going on that car, number 7, so they've had to pit, didn't want to, but had to, and just replacing like for like soft set going on.
Will Stevens out, Callum Eilert back in to the number 12 car, and what a story that car has had. Crashed after qualifying on Wednesday, and then rebuilt from a brand new bare shell in a day and a half.
Okay, possible drops in Porsche curves as well, more on karting. Possible drops of rain in karting.
Callum Eilert looks to be Mark Webber, not ideal height, doesn't he? When you see Will Stevens get out, Will Stevens is Formula 1 driver size, isn't he? a jockey-sized driver. Callum Eilert is he's not exactly what you would call a big unit, but he's long and thin. But he is long and thin, and so adapting a car where you can't move the seat, the steering wheel or the pedals to two different drivers with maybe getting on for a foot in height between them is never easy. Spots of rain on the screen of the 50 Ferrari, and he's squirreled it across the curbs. Don't do that.
That was down at the Ford chicane, but he survived for the moment. Not too much time lost as a legacy of that, but it just shows how hard everybody now is pushing. We might have done 20 hours and 42 minutes, but they're still pushing as hard as ever, if not harder now, because they can see the big prize getting closer.
Well, yes, it's not some mythical thing that will happen tomorrow, is it? Which they've been focused on for the last 12 months since the sister car won this race. It is something that is you can almost taste now. You can almost taste it. It is tantalizingly close, and yet, as we've seen so many times over recent years, can be so despairingly far away too.
And it's one of those bittersweet moments when you see your sister car win. You're like, oh, that's oh, well done, lads. Great.
So happy for you.
So happy for you.
Would it almost be better to see another car from another manufacturer win rather than it could have been me?
You can't say that. You can't say it out loud.
It's like attending somebody else's wedding or watching your ex getting married. You know, it's somewhere in there. Should have been me. Thelma Houston, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the leader is on pit lane. Coming in as well will be the 38 Hertz team Jota Porsche. That is still in the frame. And again, as the pit stop is cycled through, that's come from 8th up to 3rd, now goes back into the pit lane. Halfway through the stint, popping up to the top will be the number 2 Cadillac, and having just stopped 8, 6, 51, 7, 12, 5, 94, 63, of whom how many are still on the lead lap? Yeah, Christensen in the 5 Porsche is the last of the cars on the lead lap, and again, just over 2 minutes behind the leader, and that's half a lap around here.
This will be a quick stop for Molina. They're not changing tyres, and that was the first stint, previously the first stint on tyres. So this could be going into his second stint on soft. So actually, from what we've seen, he's going to have to look after them.
Yes, because Collado was complaining midway through the second stint on his last set of softs that they were going, or they had gone, I've got nothing left. So Miguel Molina, has he been able to nurse these tyres? It's a strange kind of duopoly here. You've got to look after the tyres for 2 long stints of this track, so an hour and a half of hardball racing, and try and beat all the other guys in terms of outright pace. We've seen fastest race laps, not just from individual cars, but fastest laps of the race in the last 30 minutes in this battle, this titanic hypercar battle for supremacy. Well, here's Alex Palou, and halfway through his fuel stint. Let's hear from Toyota Gazoo Racing about that punctured tyre.
What's going on with all these punctures, mate?
There was a hole in the thread, there was a puncture.
Yeah, and the question there is, and this is particularly relevant to the number 7 car, which was taken out of a race where it could potentially have won the championship with a tyre warning light that came on, and a low pressure warning light was reported in the garage. And so Jose Maria Lopez is going, what's the deal with this? Have we got a faulty sensor, is the question basically, and the answer is no, there was a hole in the tyre, so the sensor is a-okay, but stay off the curbs, don't lock up, try and not. The problem with the curbs is that A, they're sharp-edged, and B, that's where debris hides. Same with the gravel traps. Debris hides in the gravel. That's where it gets brushed off to. Well, let's catch up with the Ferrari team and our reporter, Louise Baguette.
James Collado is watching on as the 51 is out on track. This has been, it's been a tough Le Mans.
Yeah, like the hardest one I've done, for sure. With the conditions, it's really caught our car out big time, because we never lucked in with the slow zones or the safety cars. So, you know, sometimes you win them, sometimes you don't. But we're waiting for our first one where we can benefit a bit of time back. So, car's quick. I mean, the pace is good enough to win. We just haven't been in the right place at the right time, and it's just unfortunate. But I mean, 3 hours to go, anything can happen. We're risking everything, trying different things to try and get back up there, but it's not proven easy.
Tell us about tyres, because we've just seen some wets being wheeled out. You're looking, saying we just don't know at the moment. Tyre wear is clearly an issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's wet, soft, medium, and the soft works when it's cold and wet, and a bit damp. The wet, obviously, when it's surface water. Medium is the quicker tyre by a long way. You just need to be able to get the temperature in, so the outlaps and just trying to generate enough temperature is a tough thing. So it's a gamble, really. We're on medium now, and it's just started to rain, so another bit of bad luck, but what can you do?
Finally, we were just talking about safety car and the toll it has on a driver. Everyone thinks, okay, you're behind the safety car, but what does that mean?
I get so bored. I mean, 40 minutes doing 60 kph, I mean, I don't feel like I'm racing Le Mans. I feel like I'm on my drive home back to the UK. I need to change it or do something, because it's too much.
Okay, thank you.
He's still pushing, they're still trying to be creative on the strategy, but there aren't many options left now.
40 minutes? Pa! Let's try 4 hours. Actually, Jean-Eric Vergne, we heard during the middle of the safety car on the radio to his driver, saying he was so bored that he was asking, right, play me 3 seconds of music and let me guess what it is. He wanted to play Beat the Intro on team radio. He said, I am falling asleep here. I mean, it's 3 or 4 in the morning. No wonder he was falling asleep, but yeah, he was just desperate for something to happen.
And we had other drivers that we heard from the onboard during the course of that marathon safety car period this morning, saying, right, just tell me what's going on in the race. So where am I? Where is the opposition? Because, yeah, partly they want to know for the restart, but also they almost want some company, don't they? They're in the car, they're on their own, and it was such a long slog. So, 3 hours and 11 minutes remain, and the race-leading car is the Cadillac number 2 of Alex Palou from Miguel Molina, and then Brendan Hardy in 3rd place. Lamborghini still going. They might not be the quickest of cars, but history is set to be made with a Lamborghini as a classified finisher.
Or possibly 2 Lamborghinis, because 19 and 63 are both going. So,
or possibly
60,
4 because of the Arn Dames and the Arn Links entries.
Well, that's a very valid point, yes. But in the top class, Lamborghini have never had a car before. They entered 2, maybe more in hope than anticipation, but 63 and 19 are both still going. Again, during the middle of the safety car period when it was raining buckets, the cool air ducting that comes from the top of the car and a little tube, corrugated tube, comes down into drivers. You can see quite clearly water running down it and dripping onto Romain Grosjean's leg, which is not comfortable, getting wet while you're having cold rain dripping on you while you're in the car. But also, of course, Rob, so many electrical systems in the car, you actually really must avoid having water hosing itself into the middle of the car. So that's something they will have to get. In the end, I think Grosjean found something to stick in the tube to stop it dripping. I don't know what he had in there, like a sock or so, who knows, but something stuffed in the tube to stop it dripping on the dash, the electrics, the systems and everything else.
Yeah, we all carry socks, just a spare pair of socks while we're in there, just for that very reason.
I know, I mean,
absolutely.
I can't imagine what on earth he found in the car.
Yeah, water in car is not good.
No.
Yeah, definitely, unless it's your drink spot.
Now, speaking of electrics, number 83 Ferrari report now, it was a total electrical blackout. So everything went off with all that smoke from possibly the MGU, something in the hybrid regen system, something, but a total electrical blackout. The green light was still on in the cockpit, which suggests that the system was safe, but suggesting that the system is safe when you've got umpteen thousand volts potentially running through people is not enough. So that's why the decision was taken immediately. We don't know what's going on. Okay, isolate it and leave it. It's got to be. Yeah. It can't be used again. So really bitter disappointment for the 83 car, but that is the reason. Total electrical blackout.
And it had looked so strong yesterday evening. It was really impressive, that 83 Ferrari. So it's another one for the marker of doom. And of course, there might be a concern, Rob, also from AF Corse to think, well, if that can happen to one Ferrari, it could happen to another or 2 more. And the hopes are pinned on the factory badged cars, but the same issue could occur.
That is often the thought process. You know, you have a problem in one of your cars on track, whatever it might be, engine, anything, and your thought process, oh, hang on a minute, we need to do our best to check the other. So I would imagine the engineers from the other two cars were on high alert and watching that parameter on their screen.
Of course, last year we had the situation towards the end of the race where the 51 car that was leading failed to restart, and an hour later failed to restart again within the final hour of the race. Never happened before, never happened to the 50 car in the race, never happened again. It was an error that they'd never experienced in the 48-volt system rather than the electrical charging system. So it was, another one of those CAN bus things, but it had never happened in testing, and they've never seen it again. But they have adjusted the electrics and the electronics in the car, which they're free to do because those aren't homologated, unlike sort of engine, transmission, suspension, bodywork and so on. So they've isolated the issue and tried to make sure that won't happen again, and they will undoubtedly take the 83 car back to Maranello and forensically examine it and try and figure out what went wrong, how and why.
Having said all of that, they check it, but actually at this point in the race, even if they know it could go wrong, you can't box to fix it.
No.
Previous lap, you 32.6, Ferrari 32.1. Keep pushing, keep pushing.
As Alex Palou being given the hurry up because everyone can see on their timing screens in the pit bunkers that that gap is coming down a little, and now is not the time to have it coming down by anything.
Yeah, Brendan Hartley just half a second quicker, Miguel Molina rather, just half a second quicker on that last lap. Brendan Hartley 19 seconds behind the leader, and just lost his last lap for track limits of 3:32.9, 3:32.1 for Miguel Molina in the 50 Ferrari in second, and 3:32.6 for Alex Palou in the number 2 Caddy that leads. So a half-second spread over those 3 cars, and again just shows how relentlessly efficient the cars are being operated, because half a second difference around 13.6 kilometers, it's exactly what the cars were designed to produce, is the same pace around this track. This is what the whole of LMH, LMDH and that whole hybrid package, the way that they govern it, the way that they manage it, the FIA and the ACO, is to have all these cars with the same potential. And boy, every one here of the tried and tested cars has produced that. The newer machines, the revised Peugeot, the new Lamborghini, they're not there yet. But give them a year, and I think they very probably will. I don't see Iron Lynx not getting the Lamborghini up in amongst it, and what a great story that will be. And hopefully the Peugeot will come good as well. It's got what they believe it needs now, but again, they've got to learn how to operate it, and this goes a long way towards that. 24 hours relentlessly trying stuff. It's not the ideal test bed, but that's what the race was designed as, a test bed, and it remains so.
And you've got some of the manufacturers, even though it wasn't necessarily with this car, but like Toyota, that has got so much recent experience, they know what they're doing in terms of running a car here or developing a car for sports car racing, whereas other manufacturers are still playing catch-up in those 2 respects.
That is 100% Toyota's advantage here. The car's not quicker, it's not better, but they know it best. And that is the ace in the hole. And of course, you can go back any number of years and watch Toyota operate these cars. If you want to see a little bit more behind the scenes of what goes on, I can't recommend the WEC's Full Access series enough. That's on the WEC YouTube site. Full Access, take a look back at the programs this year and last year, gives you a lot of information. See how the teams and drivers react to scenarios that are happening, and behind the scenes stuff as well, little interviews and cameos. You learn a lot more about the teams and the drivers, and a lot more about how the racing happens and how these races are won and lost.
And there's so much that goes on. I mean, every team, I think we said this near the start of the race, but every team really could have a book written about its Le Mans weekend, because there are highs and there are lows, even for the successful teams. Barely is it totally plain sailing. Game on here, look. Porsche versus Ferrari heading down towards us, so trying to wriggle through the traffic. You've got this battle between Kevin Estre and Alessandro Pierguidi. On board with Pierguidi, Estre just staying ahead, and this, remember, is for 4th and 5th places.
No love lost here, because Kevin Estre and Alessandro Pierguidi in GT Pro over the years, Estre for Porsche, Pierguidi for Ferrari, have battled for championships. They've both won. But in the final year of GTE Pro, the Porsche duo, Kevin Estre and Michael Christensen, were denied after a clash at the final race in the dying stages. And Alessandro Pierguidi and James Calado went on to win the title. So there's a lot of history. And again, these hypercar programs, both Porsche and Ferrari, promoted their GT driving talent into it. So if you're a young driver in a GT3 car, if you're good enough and make yourself known enough, you could be in this battle as well. Now look at the difference here. Estre on softs, Pierguidi on hards. They're a stint newer, but it's a different tyre. And is that now making the difference? As Pierguidi got more under him with the medium than Estre has with a tired soft.
Yeah, well, listening to what James Calado had said there in the interview just before, his medium tyres, he felt they were the quickest tyre if you could switch them on. So I think what we're seeing here is the temperatures coming up, track temps coming up to the point where they're just about working the medium, and that could be the best tyre to be on in the dry for the rest of the race.
2 to 3 seconds faster than anyone the last lap.
Estre made a small mistake going through Indianapolis. That allowed Pierguidi to make the run on him down towards Arnage. That Porsche is not as quick as the Ferrari, but it's very wide.
I guarantee there was a radio message going, he hit me, he hit me. Yeah, we saw it, Kevin. Yeah, here comes the Ferrari. He's got a run on Estre. And a little bit of afters, and here we go again.
Back on the inside goes Estre. He had the line for the corner. As I say, that might not be the quicker of the two cars, but Kevin Estre has mega racecraft, and he is not going to give this up without a fight. He's also got that McLaren to sweep round the outside of. Job done. Ferrari goes through as well. Pierguidi determined not to lose any time at all, and they're absolutely on the limit here.
Fabulous racing, Rob Bell. Two super professional drivers right at the top of their game. And again, the reactions of their teammates in these situations are just so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, even Saturday, I know both of them very well, and it's just drawing breath every time you see them. The way they pass the McLaren, they're just millimetres in it, and they look like they touched the lap before as well. They are going for it.
Yeah, because in the end, this might end up being a battle for gold, for victory. Yeah. You know, just as easily as the guys in the top three, because they're on a slightly different fuel strategy, however the fortune falls. Again, look, Pierguidi all over the back of Estre. Estre's lacking traction, it seems to me. He's not getting off the corners, and Arnage was the classic example. You know, you lose more in a slow corner than you'll ever gain in a quick one. So out of the chicanes, out of Mulsanne corner, maybe out of Arnage, is it that the Ferrari's got that little bit more advantage? Don't forget that over 190 kph, which is out of most of these corners, the Ferrari's hybrid is driving the front wheel as well, so it's giving him a different sort of accelerative performance to the hybrid in the Porsche that's driving the rear only. But here he comes. He's going to be on the racing line, on the clean bit of the track, cuts across the nose of Kevin Estre, and Alessandro Pierguidi moves up to 4th.
Yeah, I think that's just a stint and a half old tyres, soft tyres on Kevin Estre compared to relatively 5-lap-old new medium tyres on Pierguidi. I think that's the difference between the two.
Yeah.
But the Ferrari has looked quicker than that Porsche for the bulk of the race, and Pierguidi having gone ahead, you can anticipate will start to stretch that margin, because the Porsche has been, to use that dreadful phrase, there or thereabouts, but it's never been a standout car through the race.
Well, Pierguidi has to stretch it out, because before you came on, David, Rob will remember when 51 was in front of 50, and 50 was waved by because it was lapping quicker. Where's 50? Well, it's not right in front of 51 right now. Now, I know there's the fuel strategy and yada, 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 but it's 2 cars up the road. So if the 51 team want to claim this double Le Mans victory after winning last year, then, boy, they better be ahead of their own teammates as well as everybody else. The truest fact here, as in any other form of racing, is if you don't beat your teammate, you're not going to win. So they are equally their enemy as any other manufacturer's car. Sweeping down towards Indianapolis, flying, not quite flying over the kink. Here comes the battle for 4th place in hypercar, going by that yellow 44 Proton Competition Mustang. That's now back up to 6th position in the GT3 category. GT3 being led by Manthey EMA, Maurice Schuring 2 whole seconds ahead of the Team WRT BMW of Augusto Farfus, and he's a minute ahead of Dennis Olsen, who lies in 3rd place. Well, look at this. Oh, if there wasn't contact there, that's phenomenally close. And here again, Rob, that looked like there was just the tiniest of touches.
Very small contact, very small. But the two of them are lucky. I mean, we've seen it in this race already. The smallest amount of contact at that high speed can end in a big mess. So they got away with that one, I think.
Yep. Look at the way the two cars handle differently through the chicane. They're Fred Mako and Andre Lotterer. Little share of thoughts there. Yeah, it's going to be a proper dogfight all the way through. We still have Oliver Rasmussen in 9th place upwards. We still have 9 cars who could easily win this race. A minute and a half, less than a minute and a half, covering the top 9 after 21 hours of racing. We're into the final 3 hours. We are getting close to only a Grand Prix distance remaining, and there are 9 potential winners in the overall class in hypercar. Top 3 are separated by just 18 seconds in LMP2, and the top 3 all together in LMGT3 as well. There's the 88 Proton Mustang. That car now down to 4th place with Dennis Olsen. But again, that has the potential to win a race. This is the car, the black and gold car, that was shedding panels at high speed in Qatar earlier this season at the beginning of its LMP3 history. It's been redesigned. They've beefed up the supports, and now the car looks very much more competitive, as well as a bit more resilient. But for Miguel Molina in 2nd place, trying to close on Alex Palou. Again, he's getting a little closer. Palou just a 1.5 seconds slower on that lap, so the gap is down now under 3 seconds. The blue-nosed caddy and the red Ferrari, that's your top 2. And in most camera shots on this track, they're in the same picture.
Just having a look at the average lap times per stint. So Alex Palou averaged 3 minute 31.9 when he had a brand new set of soft tyres that went on when he jumped in the car. And then his 2nd stint on the same set averaged a 3:33.1. James Collado, just for a reference, on his 2nd stint averaged a 3:31.8. Miguel Molina on his brand new set of soft tyres averaged a 3:30.9, and so far after 6 laps has averaged a 3:31.4. Sebastian Buemi on his 3rd stint of the same tyre averaged a 31.9. So the Toyota very kind on its tyres, and now obviously Brendan Hartley at the wheel that we ride on board with has averaged on a brand new set of softs 3:31.6 after 6 laps.
And how far off a pit stop then is Alex Palou in that leading Cadillac? How many laps has he done in this stint?
Alex Palou in this stint has done 12, so he must be
he's imminent
coming in.
Let's have a listen in. Number 2's team radio. Here it comes. Alex Palou at the wheel.
Box. Driver change to Alex Lynn.
Perfect timing. Right, so Alex Palou in. Alex Lynn will take over. That answers that then.
I could be his engineer.
So now we need to try to work out, fast forward for the next 3 hours, whether after the last stop the Cadillac will be ahead or behind the rest of the pack, don't we? Because it's out of sequence with the rest in that leading group.
That's what I can't work out. Which car is out or in sync, which sequence is actually working. I can't work it out at this point, but I think that will become more clear in the next hour and a half.
We need to start logging pit stop times and laps as in the time of day, and then try and work it out from there. I think as up towards the line comes 51, so that is Alessandro Pierguidi. In is Palou, so he'll drop down, so that car comes in at what, 5 minutes past 1.
We're just hearing there, David, I don't know if you caught that, but Toyota saying they expect it to remain dry till the end of the race.
Okay, that's not what the Dumbrek weather app told us. It was hellfire and brimstone, I think. But it's a free app, so it's understandable. Of course, it's accurate. Yeah,
I think Dumbrek and myself, we're cut from the same cloth. So yeah, we both had the same free app, which I've since binned.
It's a glorious summer's day, not quite, but yes, the torrential rain that everyone was telling us was going to come for the end of the race. I see no rain, I see no ships. So away goes Alex Lynn, and he can probably go to the end, can't he? If he's got enough drive time available to him, it would make sense, I guess. Nice fresh driver, and stick him in the car, and he can bring that home.
Yeah, you can drive for 4 hours within a 6-hour period, so yeah, he could, in theory, take this all the way. Let's see what the weather does. Let's see how he feels in the car. At the moment, he feels no grip because he's on cold, soft tyres. Even the, you can see the LMP2 cars behind him harassing him. Into turn 5 they go. I thought they was going to have a look down the inside there. That was too close for comfort. It'll be a bit easier for him once he gets out of Tetra Rouge and onto the straight, but there is rain in the air. It's still falling there on the exit of Mulsanne corner, around the back end of the circuit as they work their way up towards Indianapolis now. Car 50, I think it's car 50. I think when it all settles down, fuel corrected, stints corrected, I feel like it's between 50 and car 8 at the moment.
Yeah, and the Cadillac is the spoiler in the pack, isn't it? Because it is out of sequence and we need to try and work out where that might end up come the very end.
It's not fast enough, though. It's just not fast. It's not doing the lap times. The average lap times of Palou on only his second stint, they're not fast enough. A 3:33 average, you're out of the game with that lap time.
What I'm saying is, as we've been looking at for all of these stints, when the others pit, that gets the lead. When it pits, it drops back. We need to see who is going to be the last wave, if you like, Cadillac or the others, to pit, and who's going to be in that leading gaggle.
But if you're not fast enough, you're not going to win.
No, you're not.
It doesn't really matter how it looks every time they pop up to the top because others have pitted and done a driver change.
If they can claw back the time, though.
With 3 hours still remaining in the race, if you're not fast enough, it's not going to happen. So they only double stinted that last set of tyres. Toyota and pretty much everyone else are triple stinting their tyres. So I just don't feel like what happened during that double stint for Palou. Why only a double stint? Why not fast enough in the second stint? It might be eating up the tyres too much. Maybe the car would be happier on a set of mediums, but let's see what Lynn can do on a set of brand new softs now.
So that's Brendan Hartley over the line, who is second, and he's 8.7 seconds down. In his last lap was a personal best, a 3:29.3 then for number 8 Toyota. There's a little bit more optimism maybe on those faces now.
Yeah, Toyota garage looks very calm at the moment, doesn't it? Very in check. So I think they know what's coming and they're confident in their ability, clearly.
Yeah, Palou's best lap time in his last stint was a 3:31.4. Theoretical best lap time, 3:31.3. Brendan Hartley's just done his best lap, 3:30.3. Theoretical best lap time, 3:29.5, which matches exactly Alessandro Pierguidi's 3:29 as well. Brendan's done 8 laps so far on this stint. Pierguidi's done 9 laps so far on this stint. So Jose Maria Lopez as well. Those three have the newest tyres, the freshest tyres out there that are near the sharp end at the moment. Jose Maria Lopez, Pierguidi and Hartley.
I think lap times are one thing. I'm not writing that caddy off. I'm actually, that's been my dark horse all week, so I'm going to stick to that. To be in the fight, given that sequence comes to them.
And now, just to throw another one into the mix, Jose Maria Lopez does an absolute best first sector of the race in number 7 Toyota. That car currently in 5th place. And Lopez now, if you like, unleashed in pursuit of Kevin Estre up the road ahead of him. 18 seconds the margin between them. So you've got Ferrari leading Toyota, leading Ferrari, leading Porsche, leading Toyota, leading Porsche, because 6th is Callum Ilott for Hertz Team Jota. But Lopez now looking, as you might anticipate, mighty, even though he's not been in the car this season.
Oh, he knows this car so well, though. It takes longer than just a couple of races to forget what a car feels like. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of lucky timing, really, wasn't it, in many ways, with Mike Conway's incident that Jose could just jump in seamlessly.
Okay, Brendan, looking at the data, we would suggest -1 B-bow global, -1 global B-bow, if balance allows.
Yeah, I have over to entry actually. Okay, Chris.
Copy.
So in the background there, Kevin Estre way up the curb, coming out of Mulsanne corner. He's throwing everything at this, but that Porsche just does not want to play ball.
No, Estre is, well, he's not fighting a fair fight in terms of tyre age with the car 51. Like I said before, Pierre Guidi's on that fresh set of mediums actually, and I feel like the Ferrari comes more alive on a set of medium tyres. I don't know if you've mentioned that already, but just seems to be a bit better. The poise of the car for me just looks like it's a slightly stiffer platform on those mediums. There's less movement in it, and yeah, 51 is starting to produce some very good lap times.
We heard James Clardo in the pit stop actually talking to Louise, and he was saying that they put the medium on, and he feels that the medium is definitely the fastest tyre if you can switch it on. So I think they're in that window now where they are clearly switching it on.
That's yeah, good news for them. And running on board now with Pierre Guidi in that 51 car. Through the right-left flat-out section, end of the Porsche curves before the Ford chicane. And yeah, Estre, try as he might, he doesn't want to let his arch rival, his nemesis, go. And I say that because they have come to blows many a time in the GTs. Estre, you gotta love his style.
Oh, absolutely, there's nothing left on the table, but it's just not quick enough. Personal best lap for Pierre Guidi, a 3:29.098. Best lap of the race, remember, Kobayashi from, what, 12, 14 laps ago, a 3:28.7. But Pierre Guidi, having been released from behind S, has gapped him, he's pulled away. Next target for Pierre Guidi is Brendan Hartley, 17 seconds up the road. But last time around, Hartley was quicker than was Alessandro Pierre Guidi. So Estre now really needs some bad luck before those ahead of him to give him a podium chance.
And yeah, like I said before, when I was doing the lap time comparisons, the averages, they're really similar with Hartley and Pierre Guidi, despite being on different compound tyres. Brendan obviously on the softs. But let's see what happens after 2 or even 3 stints of these drivers at the wheel.
And now 50 and 51 under investigation for a technical infringement. The 2 Ferrari AF Corsa entries under investigation for a technical infringement. Now, we had that with one of the Mustangs early on in the race. Of course, the FIA, with all the data and telemetry, they can see, for example, off the sensors whether there's an issue, but that would need fixing on the next pit stop.
Yeah, it can be, yeah, so they run the sensors for the balance of performance. The FIA, the ACO need to know at all times what the torque sensors are doing on both drive shafts. They have sensors there, so if one of them fails in any way, there needs to be some kind of investigation. I think we can hear from one of the Ferraris now. Car 8, sorry.
Brandon, cars 50 and 51 are under investigation for technical infringement.
So driver gets the message, but there'll be rather more earnest conversations going on in that Ferrari AF Corsa garage. There's no penalty, they're being investigated, so the FIA, the race control team, will make sure that the answer is the correct one before it goes any further, but they're having a good look.
I think Ant's hit the nail on the head there, and what we've seen, you know, as a manufacturer, sometimes those sensors can spike, and actually you as a manufacturer saying, well, I'm not putting any more power in it, we're not doing anything wrong, but the ACO sensor is spiking, and they say, well, look, you know, we see a spike, so that's what we're going off, and if you can't prove otherwise, we'll have to turn you down.
Or even worse, if that data disappears altogether.
Yeah.
And then they can't see what you're up to.
Yeah, you got to come in and do something about it.
I'm sure that Nick Tandy's Porsche had something similar in the Daytona 24 hours, and it kept having to make pit stops to, if you like, reset and come back within the technical compliance.
I can't believe they've done something to that at this stage in the race anyway, in regular pit stops. I can't believe they've made a mistake in just a scheduled pit stop. Like having too many people over the yellow line servicing the car, for example. It's got to be something. Oh, and it just cuts the corner there.
That's the race leader.
And it wouldn't be 2 at the same time either. If you do a pit stop infringement, it's probably 1 car, but not both.
So another curveball to throw into the mix with just under 3 hours remaining. So the cars that are first and third under investigation. We'll see where this develops to. Pre-race, Ferrari was saying, oh, we're going to struggle here, you know, because we've been hurt with our top speed. You wouldn't think it, would you? Because they have looked really mighty all the way through this race. There's 51 across the line, third. Pierre Guidi with Kevin Estre now doing a personal best lap. It's not as quick as the Ferrari. Brendan Hartley's lap time's a little bit slower last time, and Miguel Molina, possibly because he had that skip over the curb, but suddenly Pierre Guidi and Kevin Estre turning on the decent lap times in the 3:29s.
Yeah, clearly still got that tyre working for him then, so doing a fantastic job, bearing in mind he's on a soft tyre, which we probably think's not the correct tyre to be on, or not the fastest option to be on at the minute.
3 laps we're hearing before car 50 pits, and there are still reports of rain, as also into the pit lane now has come Maurice Schuring, who was back at the wheel of 91, the LMGT3 leading Manthey EMA Porsche, for a routine stop. As you might expect from Porsche 911s, all going like clockwork there. In LMP2, whole armada of cars coming into the pit lane. McLaren's being led by the Cool Racing entry of Malte Jakobsen. And second, Nolan Siegel for United Autosports, and Ben Barnicoat for AF Corsa in 183 in third. At the front of that little queue, though, is Scott Huffaker for Panis Racing, number 65. Amin Rao in one of the UA cars as well. It all gets a bit crowded around the Manthey EMA garage there, doesn't it? Car controller having to skip out of the way.
It's a busy old pit lane here at Le Mans. You've got to have your wits about you, and some serious talent as well in these front-running LMP2 cars, but not quite squared up there in the pits as Jakobsen, I believe that was, just in the Cool Racing box there. I don't know what happened on the way in, but they definitely had to square that car up, which would have cost them a lot of time.
Had to go around the front of the Porsche, okay. So he didn't have a nice clean arc in. It was more of a chicane, really. Yeah, never an ideal situation. So that should give the AF Corsa car is already in the pits with Ben Barnicoat. Bit of an advantage there if he had a clear run in. So race control still looking at this situation for the factory Ferraris. Away goes 22, which is Nolan Siegel.
And overtakes. So yeah, that nose-in pit stop that Jakobsen had to deal with has cost them a position, or maybe even 2. No, what's going? So that was Ben Barnicoat there. So that was a driver change for car 23. Waiting with the tyres there in the background. That's Philippe Albuquerque in the 23 now, as Barnicoat gets going.
So it puts, for the moment, Rached de Geras for IDEX Sport into the lead of LMP2, with Nolan Siegel second, as he just left the pits, and Vladislav Lomko for Inter-Europol competition third. But I think that's going to keep shuffling on this next round of pit stops when the rest of the class cycle their way through. So LMP2 certainly isn't over yet.
No, it's not. And I'm just looking at GT3 as well, and Richard Leach just got in the car. So he's on an outlap, so he could well finish the race. And I think he's the ace in the pack, to be honest. That if that car can finish with just Richard into the end, I think that's advantage to Manthey Porsche.
In LMP2, as I say, that Inter-Europol competition car, winning team from last year in third spot, and on cold tyres, struggling to make the Dunlop S's there. Philippe Albuquerque.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the most experienced LMP2 drivers, and so familiar with the team at United Autosports. He's driven with them for multiple years in a row now, and yeah, this LMP2 machinery hasn't changed for quite some time, as Estre's out of the number 6 Porsche, and in gets Laurent Vantour.
Jose Maria Lopez, fastest lap of the race, a 3:28.562, as he now gets up to third on this most recent stop for Porsche and Ferrari. But Lopez flying absolutely. Oh, and then the lap disappears, and it goes back to Kobayashi. Was that because there was a track limit offence on that? It was. So the lap time does not count. It pinged up and then disappears because of a track limit drama. So scrap that. Same car, different driver, retains fastest lap.
As a driver, though, you'd still say to yourself, you've got fastest lap.
No matter how you
still take
it.
that. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, the data from the team doesn't show that it was a track.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got fastest lap in the team so far.
Now, number 8, Brendan Hartley, discussing fuel, we understand, with the team. Let's listen in.
Monster start, low fuel. I'm going to have to save fuel.
Where did you get it?
Portugal.
Alpha 9-9, Alpha 9-9.
Oh, so
pretty unexpected that, yeah.
So as you know, Rob, in your briefings way before the race, you'll know exactly when the fuel alarm comes on the steering wheel. You'll know at what position it should happen on the circuit to ensure that you can drive flat out in the correct engine mode before making it back to the pits. So Hartley's
he's not got there.
He's not got there. It's come up early, and somehow that's surprised the team.
So he's had to change a setting on the steering wheel by the sounds of it, and he'll probably be saving fuel now to get back. But we will expect him in this lap then.
Just see Kevin Estre standing in the garage, which means Laurens Vanthoor has taken over in Porsche number 6.
It's never easy, is it, this race?
Nothing's meant to be, is it?
It's so many things that can go wrong here.
The Ferraris get a reprimand for a technical infringement, but no penalty. It's a finger wag, it's a slap on the wrist, but a technical infringement earns a reprimand.
That was exactly the same result as the Mustang
last night.
Earlier,
Quite right. Yeah.
Listen to that size of the lift and coast that Hartley had to do into the Porsche curves there. Way early. It was around 200 meters that he lifted for. But it looks like he's going to make it as he comes through the final section of the Porsche curves.
Yeah, as long as he gets back, can be running on fumes. No one cares as long as he gets back.
Wow, so they make it. He's done his 12 laps. So has Jose Maria Lopez. So, I mean, they're super close, these two. Best lap from Lopez, 328.5. Brendan Hartley's 328.6. Both on the same set, both on the soft tyres that went fresh on for this stint. Average lap time for Jose, 330.2. Average lap time, Hartley, 330.9. So a better stint in favour of car 7. Valuable drink getting guzzled by Brendan. It's a good time when the car comes to a standstill. Your heart rate is sky high. And even though you try to remind yourself to drink when you're driving, it's you stop in the pit box and you have much more time to just have a good old guzzle, like I say. The fuel's going in, both to the car and to the driver.
So both Toyotas in, 8 and 7, 8 goes. And that, of course, clears the way for 7 when it needs to blast out. It doesn't need to wriggle around another car. We had a pit stop, didn't we, last night, where neither of them could go because there was this stream of traffic coming in, and they just did not have any space at all to join the queue. They had to wait until an awful lot of traffic had gone by. But the Toyota's at pit in, so you come into the pit lane and there your garage awaits. Others prefer to be at pit out, but at either end, you've got a little bit more space on either side.
So better track conditions now, as we've had so much rain. It was effectively starting from scratch, wasn't it, on the green circuit, and they're now on dry conditions, starting to lay the rubber down. That's why we're seeing purple sectors coming up left, right, centre. And Alex Lynn on the soft tyres, average 332.7, not fast enough.
You've just got out of the number 6 Porsche Penske. There's difficult conditions out there. I can see on your face that it's not sitting too well with you.
Yeah, I mean, conditions are okay. It's a little bit of rain here and there, especially Mulsanne, Indianapolis, Arnage. So it's you're never fully confident when you see rain coming at 320 and you have to brake. But the stint went okay, a bit better than the previous one, but still we won soft. I think Pierre Guidi was on medium. We were hoping for a little more rain. That's why we put softs to make sure that we're okay on a damp condition. But in the end, it was just not enough, I think. let's see. We're giving it everything, but it looks like we just don't have the outright pace to fight with the top 3-4 there.
What did you go on to when you've done the driver change?
Not sure. Lawrence took a new set of tire, but I didn't see. I was taking out my helmet, so I don't know.
And what else can you do? Is there anything else you can do as a team?
What we can do is
hope for rain.
Yeah. Hope for rain probably is the only thing which can save us and put us back in this pack of 3-4 guys. Yeah, we'll do everything, but on the dry, I think we are at the limit. We cannot do much better. And it seems that the other has a bit the upper hand, which they didn't show so much in practice. So we'll see.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
He has spotted what we've identified as well through the average lap times. They're there within striking distance if anything were to go wrong for the car we're riding on board with, or the two Toyotas and car 51, of course, as well. That's where this race is. It's between Ferrari and Toyota.
A record-extending 20th victory looks on, said the press about Porsche before the race. 12 months on, it's a different story from last year. The manufacturer is on a roll. The tide has truly turned for the German manufacturer's latest sports car programme. It's not been the race that Porsche expected. It's not been the race the media centre expected, perhaps.
This race chooses its victor.
It does indeed. So, Kevin Estre, we used the phrase already, there or thereabouts, but lacking that ultimate pace. And so Ferrari versus Toyota to the end. On pit stops for now, at least, 38 Hertz Team Jota. Porsche is up into the mix as we wait for number 50 Ferrari to blast back into the race.
I think even if we do see a safety car towards the end and it bunches it all back up, I think we'll just see the Ferrari and the Toyota, even if it's tense, they've just got that ability just to pull away and overtake. So I think we're right, but I wouldn't rule them out quite yet. And still, I'm saying it's a two-horse race, and I think he's right. But I don't know. I'm still hanging in there with my canny prediction. I'm just going for it. I'm just going for it.
Is this a two-prancing horse race?
It could well be. Yeah, it could be. Very good.
Car 50 once again going straight across the middle of a chicane. It's only a matter of time before you'll see a warning flag for that. It was the final chicane just a couple of laps ago. Now it was the Dunlop chicane. Yeah, look. Well, that's. Did we actually see any overtaking there in that process? Was it an overtake off track? Or did he filter him back behind? No, he filtered just behind them.
But that's where you're going to be unlucky. You keep doing that, you're going to pick up a puncture. There's a bit of carbon debris sat there, and we've seen punctures for other cars. It could well be that could be something you've got to avoid as well.
That was straight out of the pits, wasn't it, for Miguel Molina? So again, that closing speed of a hypercar on a quick LMGT3 entry. LMGT3 at the moment being headed by number 31, Sean Gelael. There'd be some karma in this, wouldn't there, after his involvement in that big accident at Spa, the innocent party of it. But at the moment, the Team WRT BMW leads the class from Richard Lietz's Porsche and Mikael Pedersen's Proton Mustang. I'm not suggesting Sean Gelael will stay in the lead of the class, but a podium would be a pretty decent outcome. And WRT and BMW as a whole has had a pretty grotty race.
Sean Gelael actually quick, but not quite as quick as Richard Lietz on the last lap, although Lietz, well, he's up on this lap as well, so Richard Lietz on the charge.
Right on board with Brendan Hartley. He's got the Mustang in front of him into the second chicane. It's always a painful part of the track to catch slower cars. You'll go around the outside here and you run right over that the white dotted line. The car can comfortably run that part. It's not bumpy part of the track, so you're going slower as well. So I think the GTs almost expect that you're going to go around the outside there of them, and he now carries that speed in towards Mulsanne corner. We can hear from car 51, Pierre Guidi.
P3, 15 seconds behind Toyota. 15. Let's go for it, mate.
Ooh. Fighting talk. I like it.
Blue touch paper lit.
Go get him, Pierre Guidi.
But at this stage, 2.5 hours to go. What else can you do? Because the Toyotas have looked strong. They're not going to break, seemingly, although stranger things can happen. But yeah, he's going to have to do it on pace now. This is Brendan Hartley's view, and We're still getting improved sectors. We're getting a personal best lap out of LMP2 Malcolm Jakobsen last time on new boots. So Molina leads, Hartley second. The gap Brendan Hartley to Pierre Guidi, 13.2 seconds. So that's what we need to start monitoring now.
Exactly. The car number 8 crew, I would say as a whole, have driven an impeccable race. I've been really impressed with their approach. I think they've known when to push hard in the race, when to conserve slightly. Brendan Hartley here around the outside. He'll go with the Corvette, pinch it back in, and you're looking in the mirror through that corner, by the way, to check the rear of the car. We've seen a few clashes there, haven't we, earlier on? So how the Iron Dames car actually got taken out. And you've got to check the rear of the car all the time. It's calculated risk every step of the way.
Because you're in that invidious position, aren't you, of needing to push, but needing to be careful. And you don't win races by being careful, sometimes. Let's just listen in again on number 8.
It's gone down all the time, free to try. It's straight, I have very low energy cuts.
Yeah, so still complaining about the need for fuel lifts. And yeah, where is that coming? Is it the fact that he can't recharge enough? Because that's all part of your energy quota, of course. When we get that energy graphic up, it's combined electrical and the fuel that actually goes into the car. It's not just the fuel that's going in. And when we see it go up to 100%. So we saw last year, I think it was one of the Ferraris, not car 51, lost its the ability to regen. So the energy graphic was going down super quick because it was relying there more so on the fuel for the energy than the battery. We look down at the tyre graphics there with the 2 GT cars fighting it out. Iron Dames on the left, 15-lap-old medium. So yeah, equal fight there with the 17-lap-old tyres on the Lexus. And look at the bonnet of the Lexus.
Yeah, I was going to say damage for Jack Hawksworth. So as he hits something, you can hardly see on that side, at least. The camera can't see. It's a left hooker, isn't it, that car? Jack Hawksworth, he's bringing it back. But just as it gets itself in a challenging position, either it's gone into the back or a bonnet pin has broken. And so that car is going to have to come into the pit lane, and it's going to be a relatively slow in-lap as well. I was about to suggest that there was a slight gain from Pierre Guidi over Brendan Hartley, but over by tenths of a second, nothing massive. But now it's all eyes on the Lexus, because in LMGT3, he's going to be lucky if that doesn't part company completely, and if it does rip off, it's going to do a lot of damage to the car, and he's got a lot of lap to do yet.
I just don't know how he can see where he's going. Well, it was a fair fight until he was blinded by his bonnet.
It's a left hooker, isn't it? So hopefully it's not quite as bad on that side, but he comes now down towards the chicane. So the Iron Dames Lamborghini gets away. I wonder if that's got any rear damage. Did the Lexus get into the back of that Lamborghini? We'll try and have a look as it goes through. It's not showing any ill effects, is it?
No, not at the moment.
Nick Manassian, we're into the final few hours, 2.5 hours of this race, and in LMP2, you're looking strong. I don't want to tempt fate, but what do you think?
I think that is very close, so you can win and you can finish 5th or 6th. It's ever so close, you know. The level of the driver is very similar one another. Strategy is a tiny bit different, and the weather can still play his part. So I think we just keep doing what we do and maximize every single little bit you can maximize.
Tell me a little bit about tyres from LMP2, because obviously you're on the Goodyear, which is slightly different because you only have the slicks or the wets. So how does that differ for you in this category with all these different changing conditions we've had?
Yeah, it's pretty tough for the drivers, because the choice you make is a choice that will impact the whole duration of the stint. If you make a choice of going full wet and it's not wet enough, then you damage your wet a lot, and if you want to keep your slicks, you struggle a lot. So it's very tricky for the drivers, especially if a driver doesn't have a lot of experience. So yeah, it was a very tricky choices to make at the beginning of the race when we had this rain coming and it was not in every single part of the track. and it was tough. And at one point we made a wrong call, but you know that's the game, and we lost some time. So we keep playing catch up since then. We're back in the game, but he's so competitive back in the game. It was a lot of math.
Did it hurt your head?
Yeah. And with you know, I've got a great team. You know, IDEX Sport, great people around me. It's not me on me. It's the whole team, the drivers, everybody is playing his part, and that's what Le Mans is all about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lamborghini, which I think has escaped any drama from the Lexus. The bodywork at the front flapping slightly, but don't forget that got hip and shouldered off by number 4 Porsche late last night, and it is still a quick-looking car. That the Iron Dames Lamborghini has Michel Gatting behind the wheel. Now, Brendan Hartley's last lap was a 3:31, and Pierre Guidi's last lap was a 3:30.2. That gap is coming down.
Yeah, Pierre Guidi is flying. I think the medium is probably the tyre to be on at this stage, but nevertheless, he's starting to close in on the drivers in front of him, Brendan being one of those drivers. Oh, look, this is where the bonnet just detaches itself, so there wasn't any contact. It just popped up. And there it was, yeah. No. The Iron Dames car when it happened. So yeah, I can't believe that the driver could actually see where he was going enough to navigate it round and actually brake in the right places and stay out of trouble. Impressive stuff.
But like I keep saying, you know, just when you think, you know, you might be on an even keel, out of nowhere something like that pops up. Quite literally in the case of the bonnet.
Exactly.
But, yeah. Oh, hello, I can't see. What's happened now?
It's just what this race does to you.
Exactly. And Jack Hawksworth, who's had great success with Lexus in America. Good to have him back and making his Le Mans debut. Good to have him back in Europe. Right, 50 leads the way. Miguel Molina, let us just eavesdrop for a moment.
Gap behind, 6.2.
Okay, don't tell me anymore. The gap behind, I'm pushing flat out. So I'm doing my best.
No more, no fine.
That's a bit like, please leave a message next time.
Yeah, if it was the gaps extending, then yeah, oh yeah, please tell me more. But at the moment, it's gone down from 6 to 5 seconds, that last lap. You win and lose in traffic, of course, but I'd say on average, the 50's looking pretty strong as well, at least on par with that of Brendan Hartley. So basically super tight between the Ferraris and the Toyotas.
It's now about not making a mistake.
Exactly.
Or the car being reliable. There is the Lexus into the pit lane for Jérôme Policon's Acodis ASP team, ASP Autosport Promotion. And the team having moved away from Mercedes to Lexus. There, right up towards the wall, number 7 Toyota, absolutely pushing on the limit now. Jose Maria Lopez, behind is Lawrence Vanthoor, trying to make that Porsche do for him what it wouldn't do for Kevin Estre. And towards the end of the lap they come. The leader has gone by. Miguel Molina 5 seconds to the good. His last lap was a 3:31. Hartley a 3:29. So Brendan Hartley is still pushing despite these alarms that he's been seeing and hearing from the team, but he is getting a little bit closer because it's gone down from 6 seconds to 4.5.
It must be a bit more comforting for Brendan and the team as well, because up until that point he hadn't shown anywhere near the kind of lap times that he had previously to his last stop. So yeah, he's back on into the 29s, like you say, and matching now cars around him for pace yet again, and hence why I guess that gap's come down from the 6.2 seconds before with car 50 is now 4.7. And that's why Molina was getting a little bit edgy, wasn't he, with his engineer, because saying, look, I'm doing everything I can. Stop telling me the gap's coming down.
Now in the distance there in the background, you can see the fight for third in LMP2. Vladislav Lomko for Inter-Europol competition, the winning squad from last year ahead of Cool Racing's Malte Jakobsen. And there's nothing to choose really between those two. It was 0.299 of a second at the last timing point. There could be a change coming up here for third in class as we go back on board to listen to Brendan Hartley and his engineer.
Track limit, Brendan. Rain expected in 7 minutes, hitting turn 17, 18 first.
Well, that was chipper news, not track limit offence, and there's rain. Kick a man when he's down.
Yeah, what about now you've got the gap down to 4.1 seconds. You're doing great. And when it rains, that's our opportunity to strike.
Think positive, yeah. This battle for third in LMP2 continues, and intermittent rain at 13:46 between Arnage and the Porsche curves, the part of the circuit you've just looked at, those LMP2 Oricas around here. This is where it's expected to hit first. Nice high-speed part of the circuit.
Yeah, at a level 2 intensity as well. I don't know what the increments are or what the scale is, but 2 sounds like enough to me.
Yes.
That will do the job.
I've not seen it go to 3, so I'm assuming 2 is the highest, and therefore that'll do. That's enough.
Exactly.
Stop there. Yeah.
We have seen cars running around on wet tyres at level 2, so that's all we can deduce from that.
Yes, it's mermaid's flannel, that's all you need to know. Out of the Ford chicane, Vladislav Lomko just being able to hang on to the place. Malte Jakobsen, the very highly regarded Malte Jakobsen, he's right there behind him as he goes on the attack. They go over the timing line now towards turn 1. Jakobsen, who's won the LMP3 class in the European Le Mans Series, Peugeot development driver, closing up onto the tail of Lomko, another single-seater convert from Formula 4 and the Euro Formula Open, Formula 3 style cars. He's good through the traffic.
Oh, and that was lucky, really, that the Porsche, the Manthey Porsche, had seen them coming. He let one through, tried to turn in, then at the last minute saw another one, so very well avoided there.
Now, another report we have about the rain translates class 2 to heavy. That is what the forecast says, and here comes the change, possibly for third in LMP2. Remember, it's the same car and engine, so it's going to be down to the real bravery of Malte Jakobsen. He's in the wheel tracks, gets a run, gets the toe down towards that first chicane. Lomko goes defensive, covers off the inside line. Jakobsen darts to the outside at the last moment. Can he drive all the way around the outside? No, he gets level and then has to think better of it, unless he can get the undercut coming out of the chicane.
Yeah, he's done exactly that. He's got that undercut there, which is going to propel him onto this straight and once again into the slipstream. So you will get closer by the time you come into the second chicane. You've got to look to the inside, though. That's why he didn't want to give up hunting down the inside, but he gave the game away too early. So maybe next time he's got to think about selling him a bit more of a dummy than that. So yeah, not going to have a pop down the inside, is he? Gets closer on the braking, but doesn't think about it.
Maybe the moves at Mulsanne, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't lose any time here. So he exits as close as he possibly can, gets back in the wheel tracks, gets into the slipstream, and let's see if he's going to be near enough by the time they get down towards Mulsanne corner. Still Lomko just ahead. This for third and fourth into Europol competition versus Cool Racing within LMP2, which we haven't had, of course, in other rounds of the FIA WEC this year, but grandfathered back into Le Mans, boosts the entry and gives us another great battle to look for. And still, Jakobsen unable to unsettle Lomko and make a move.
Yeah, really impressed with this young Dane. This could be a proper star of the future here, Jakobsen. And obviously, you know, this whole generation inspired by Tom Christensen and his 9 Le Mans victories, no doubt. So great to see young drivers attracted to this category, to this championship, and yeah, particularly this race at Le Mans.
Denmark's a bit like New Zealand, small country, and yet has produced a lot of really good drivers over the years.
Exactly. You got Nicholas Nielsen in the Ferrari as well. You got Fred Vesti also in the LMP2 category. And I know there are more, but my brain's a bit tired. I'm sorry, but I know there are more of you.
There ain't nothing like a Dane. Right, the rain is coming. It's getting heavier, we understand, at turn 15. So the drivers shortly are going to have to start being just that little bit more cautious. That said, there are people having a last hurrah in the drive, if you like, and doing a personal best lap. Matt Campbell has been one of them. Sean Galisle, another, who's lost his LMGT3 class lead now to Richard Lietz.
You'll see that Jakobsen's rain lights are now turned on. They're flashing away. That's what that represents. And yeah, so they've all been told by race director to now basically the track is declared wet, so turn your rain lights on. Not that you'd want to put the wet tyres on just yet, but I'm sure it is definitely coming that way.
2 hours and 15 minutes to go. That is all. Still a Grand Prix in a bit, but it doesn't sound a lot in the context of the 24 hours that we faced almost this time yesterday. Over the timing line goes that LMP2 battle. The class being led by Nolan Siegel for United Autosports ahead of Rached de Geras for IDEC Sport. And then this is your fight for third place in class. The lead gap, by the way, overall, Molina to Hartley down again, 3.9 seconds last time through. And then you've got Alessandro Pierguidi behind, lapping quicker last time than the two ahead. First to third, 15 seconds, 15.7.
This is where Jakobsen was pretty quick through Tête Rouge last time around. But I think he's a little bit further back, possibly. But again, a good exit, though. So he's doing something right in Tête Rouge. And he is starting to get closer and closer to the Inter-Europol car. Stays to the outside this time. And is he at the last moment going to duck to the inside? Very different scenario to last time around. He's flashing him and go duck to the inside. Oh, he's got it covered anyway, but he's going to have to rethink this one, is Melter.
It's great racing between the two, isn't it? And they're not that far behind slower class traffic. In less than a minute, it is predicted the rain will arrive at the Porsche curves. They might hit it on this lap. And Louis Baguette from the pit lane is telling us that wet tyres are being prepared at Cadillac, at Jota, the Hertz Team Jota Porsche, so wets are on standby. Rain is forecast, and when it strikes, it's meant to be heavy, so the teams are set, they're ready.
They are ready. You've got to be ready. I still don't think, yes, it's anywhere near putting them on just yet. And the lap times would suggest that the slicks are still definitely the right tyre to be on. They've lost a little bit of lap time. They've gone from the 29s and the low 30s. The majority of them are all sort of 31s, 32s now. So the rain is falling, and Louise she's in our ears again. I don't know if you want to come in, Louise. I don't know if you can do that, but...
I think she's heading this way to get out of the race. In the meantime, here you've got the Richard Leach, Sean Gallard battle for the class lead in LMGT3. Porsche around the outside in replay. And Sean Gallard, another former single-seater racer in the end, has to give way. What Richard Leach doesn't know about driving Porsches isn't worth knowing. And it puts the Manthey EMA entry into the class lead. Right, Ferrari have got wet standing by for the 50-51 entries. The pit lane, when this rain strikes, is going to be a hive of activity, but it kind of depends also now on where your car is around the racetrack, doesn't it? Because if the rain starts, for example, and you are at turn 1, then you've got to do a whole lap before you can come in and get wet tyres, whereas if the rain comes and you're coming into the Porsche curves, you can go to the pit lane and get those wets on much sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does depend on where you are. And
that's a sorry side.
Yeah, that is a sorry. No one likes to see the garage doors going down at Le Mans for AF Corsa.
Yeah, they deserve better, really, than that result, didn't they? After the way that Kubica and Schwartzman and Yefe had gone last night, they deserve better than a non-finish, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. I can't work out. Was it? It looked to me like it was a severe amount of brake smoke coming off. It wasn't the front motor that had suddenly...
I think Martin said it was an electrical blackout, and therefore they just had to leave the car because they didn't know what it was. And let's go on board number 50 Ferrari just quickly.
Okay, we expect rain, significant rain from Indianapolis to the pit lane. Significant rain from Indianapolis to the pit lane.
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
You advise us. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. If it's already too bad, we box this lap. Otherwise, we wait the next one.
Yeah, it's so hard to know. That's basically the engineer in a roundabout way asking him to tell him about the conditions on track. I'm giving you the information on the radar. You, Tim, tell me about the conditions on track. And at the moment, Miguel sounds like he's okay with the track being like this on the slicks. We've seen many times through this race already. Once you've got that temperature in the slicks, they can hang on to a bit of grip for quite some time. But there's a definite cliff of drop-off when the track gets too sodden with water, and yeah, then suddenly you're in trouble.
And the reports we're getting is, last night, it's one section of the circuit, not all of the lap, one section. So what do? Do you go onto wets for this bit, or stay on slicks for all of that over there?
I'll tell you what would be a really good tyre to have in those kind of conditions, an intermediate tyre, but
we don't. Great idea.
Don't have those, do we?
Quite.
Shame. I can say that. No, I'm not driving, by the way.
Well, it's certainly going to throw yet another curveball at the teams for this last 2 hours and 10 minutes. Right, Cadillac in. So that is number 2, which Alex Lynn had taken over.
Now, this is a scheduled stop. He's done his 12 laps, so he's in. What do you do with tyres? Do you keep these on? If the wets are lurking in the background, ready to go on.
But the rain really hasn't amounted to anything at all yet, but
wets are going on the LMP2 car in front, indeed. So I'm sure we're going to see this happen as well, because you might as well, if you feel like this rain is definitely coming, A, you can survive, with only 2 hours left to go of the race, you don't want to go crashing your car right now. It would be such a heartbreaking thing to do. And B, you might as well, while the car is stopped at this stage on a scheduled pit stop, slap a set of wets on.
And if you're Cadillac, you might as well roll the dice, because on pure pace, as you've been saying, you're not going to win. So this could be what gives you the victory or a good result. You've nothing to lose.
It might have been what Rob Bell was seeing in his crystal ball.
Right, wets on, Cadillac goes.
It's only spitting and spotting with rain in the paddock at the moment, so...
That's not what Louise said.
Well, she's not outside our commentary box, is she? She doesn't like rain, doesn't like it at all. But the radar does show heavier rain coming, not as heavy as before, but it does show more heavy rain arriving.
Both Lamborghinis are just about to come into the pit lane. Reuven Moore, you're the Chief Technical Officer for Lamborghini. And of course, this is your first outing this year in hypercar. What was behind the decision and how is it going? I mean, you're still here in Le Mans.
Yeah, this is, first of all, I'm super excited. You know, to see all the fans. It's a high level of competition. To be here for the first time with Lamborghini as this iconic brand is for sure a dream is coming true. Because, you know, when I was young, I was also here as a fan. And now to be on this part, it's really incredible. And coming back to your question, for sure, it's a learning year for us. We have to be realistic. But nevertheless, to be still in the race, after this time, it's incredible. I'm super happy.
And what is it about, why did you want to be part of this? Not just Le Mans, but hypercar?
Because it's one of the biggest challenge that you can have in motorsport at the moment. And it's also with the hybridization, it's also fitting to our street strategy. So we are hybridizing also our street portfolio. So it's fitting perfectly. It's a high level competition and we want to take the challenge.
And it's also going well in the GT3 category for you as well.
Yeah, to be honest, also with the Iron Dames, it's also super cool program, to be honest. The car looks super nice, to be honest. We really cross our fingers because we have still a time to run. And let's hope for a good result.
We're really pleased to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I could see everything going on.
So the road is still wet, and as the cars then make the run once more down towards the Ford chicane, in comes number 8. So Brendan Hartley from second place for the pit road. And also Ferrari number 50 comes into the pit lane. We understand there's a driver change due as well there to relieve Miguel Molina. There is the Ferrari, of course, ahead of the Toyota as he has been for that stint. So no change there, of course. Down the pit road it comes.
So Molina in car 50, he only achieved 7 laps in this stint. So this isn't scheduled, this stop. This is because of the rain.
Yeah.
Also for Pierre Guidi, he's on 9 laps. So yeah, that's how Caddy have, because they were so out of sync, that's how they're on their scheduled stop. Now they're on the correct tyre for the conditions.
2, 8 and 5 were the 3 cars that were out of sync with the others from various weather-related incidents and so on. So now, again, this resets the field. 2 hours and 6 minutes. Basically, we've got a Grand Prix to run, and everybody is in for wet weather tyres, and they will all take fuel. So that will reset the whole field. Our top dozen cars who were previously in the same sector of the track.
They can't get the gun on, car 8.
Come on!
Oh, finally they're there, but big time lost. So having looked so strong this morning, number 8 Toyota losing valuable time, and you can't afford to do that. Just as we were saying, at this point it's all about not making errors, having reliability, and out of nowhere Toyota in trouble.
Oh no, there's an unsafe release, surely.
It is a penalty.
Well, he's let him go, he's let the LMP2 car go, but it might be too late because it had been released.
It was unsafe.
The P2 car had to jam the brakes on as well.
Right, so 50 gets a question mark.
They had, well, it's not a question mark, that's a definite. It was absolutely, even the mechanic had the lollipop guy had the board in front of the car, literally trying to stop the car with the board, and the car went anyway.
Oh,
massive mistake.
They got away with that technical infringement reprimand. Let's see what's in the system for that.
That's Nick Nielsen, who left in the 50 Ferrari.
If the board's down, you don't go.
So this puts Lawrence Vanthor into the lead for the moment, having not come in this time. And let's just have a quick listen to number 8 Toyota. No, we won't. We'll do something else for a moment. 7 comes out of the Dunlop chicane, so 7 still Jose Maria Lopez at the wheel.
Now, 7th and 8th Oliver Rasmussen in the 38 Jota and Matt Campbell last to stop of the cars that are on the lead lap. Now, all the rest are going to be relevant, but not immediately relevant to this battle. So it's the cars on the lead lap. Lawrence Vantor yet to stop for wets. That's why he cycled to the top, but there's the 38 Hertz Team Jota car back out of the pit lane, or before he came into the pit lane, that must be then at Mulsanne corner, Oliver Rasmussen. So how long can Lawrence Vantor stick it out?
And how wet is it anywhere other than the Porsche curves on our section of the circuit? If it's so dry elsewhere and the slicks still work, he might be content to brave it out.
Well, Vantor anyway is on lap 10 out of 12. So, yeah, he's only got 2 laps to stick it out, and then he's basically on target for a scheduled stop.
The stint's done.
Last lap for Lawrence Vantor, 3:55. Now, that's a pretty decent dry weather time.
Right, now this rain, look, on the Mulsanne straight, the initial report was that it was going to be from Arnage round to the end of the lap, so it's affecting more of the circuit, so there's more wet, a greater spread of the circuit is wet, and the rain, we're being told when it came, was going to be heavy, so there is a wetter track and greater amounts of a wetter track for the drivers to contend with now.
Yep.
We finally had a level, didn't we? We saw level 2 on our boards, and then we heard from the engineer it's going to be intense. So that basically level 2 means intense.
Well, level 2 means rain. Level 1 is sort of sprinkly drops. Level 2 is light rain. Level 3 is heavy rain. I'm not quite sure what call Noah and get the toolbox out is, but it's definitely more than level 2. Slippy surface flags being shown obviously by the marshals. Those are the red and yellow stripe flags. You can see that as the cars are coming out of Church Rouge. And in fairness, it doesn't matter how dry it is around the rest of the circuit, it only needs to be just a bit too wet at one spot for Lawrence Vantor and the number 6 Porsches in the barriers, and that's all it's going to take. This is a whoever blinks first is out of the race 2-hour window. You cannot have a mistake. Look at the spray coming off the tyres.
There is so much wet track now, that really, I would have thought, dictates it for Vantor, because he can't live out on this for more than a lap, surely. It is so wet for so much of this 13-kilometre lap now.
But if he can, and if he can survive another lap, then suddenly they've crept 2 laps further on fuel than the rest of the field. It might make no difference. I'm not clever enough to know, but it might.
Number 50 Ferrari being held up in the traffic here, gets away with it.
The Ferrari cannot shut the door. Vantor is in, leaders in the pits. And the 50 car will have to come in. You can't drive around with the door flapping. We saw in Spa that the 99 Proton Porsche behind the safety car took Neil Jarni 3 or 4 laps to eventually manage to slam the door, and unfortunately the 50 Ferrari's radio message is a bit, how can I say this,
fruity,
blur for this time of day. Yes, it's a little bit colourful, so that is the message, and let's go on to the number 6 Porsche.
So Vantor stays behind the wheel, but he goes on to the correct tyres, if you like. 50 Ferrari battles on with the flapping door.
It's the wrong door. It's not the driver's door. It's one of the engineers has either changed the drinks bottle or something else and not closed the door from the outside.
So a stop is going to be due to sort the door problem out. Nicholas Nielsen at the wheel of the car that leads at the moment. He's got traffic ahead. And the door ajar rather than flapping open, but it's certainly not closed properly.
Yeah, traffic ahead is the least of his worries. He won't be able to reach it, even though the cockpit is so tiny. He'll have no chance of closing that. It will require a drive into the pit lane to get a mechanic to shut it.
That part of the circuit looking a bit drier, I thought, than it did a lap ago. So is this going to be as fickle, the rain, as it was last night? Yeah, the road is wet and it's greasy, but it's not the heavy rain that was being predicted. It doesn't look quite so bad now.
Look at where some of the water patches come across, though, from where the roundabouts and side roads and so on are. So water moves.
It's wet there, right enough. Loads of spray, but of course with the trees hanging over different bits of the Mulsanne, bits of it will dry quicker than others, bits of it will get wetter faster than other bits.
Yeah, it's definitely in the left-hand corners, isn't it, where that side door, you'd say passenger, non-driver side door, and there's a brilliant example of it. left-hand corner, door swings open, straight line, the aerodynamics pushes it, closed again.
Really interesting, the slow-mo shot, the way that the Ferrari is so in on the nose, and yet the rear is controlled, whereas when you look at the number 6 Porsche, Kevin Estre, he's still complaining about the tail being too tail happy. You really see that the LMDH cars just slide a little bit more with the rear. And in the end, is that going to be the balance? Sebastian Buemi suiting up again.
And looking at this and thinking, OK, that might give us an even better chance.
I think that might have been Kobayashi passing on the information about car 50 to say, oh no, maybe that's what he might have been talking about.
Brendan Hartley's had a spin at Mulsanne corner, so the second place car goes around. He reverses out of harm's way, but let's see how many places, if any, are lost before he's got going again. Waits for a gap in the traffic, tries to get the car in the right direction. He's not moving yet.
No, he's looking at the marshals. He's looking for a sign from the marshals. He can't see what's coming down the straight.
Through the gravel, because he's got no lock on the car. So Brendan Hartley rally crossing his way back onto the circuit. And that's a very concerned Sebastian Buemi now. Yellow flags then down at Mulsanne corner. They'll go in a moment because the Toyota is moving again. But a big amount of time lost. Let's see how he did it. Was there contact?
There was.
With 51 Ferrari then. So Alessandro Pierguidi up the inside. Another one maybe for the race control building.
Well, there was contact and somebody went round. Anthony, was that Brendan being ambitious?
Let's have a look from this shot.
Oh, it wasn't Brendan being ambitious, was it?
Hold on, hold on. Cause of contact, car 51.
Yep.
That's how the stewards will look at that.
I can't say no. Can't say no.
Let's listen to number 8 Toyota then. A very annoyed Brendan Hartley, no doubt.
Head down, mate. Any damage to the car? No.
Short and sweet, wasn't it, Brendan Hartley? Cracks on.
Buemi cannot believe it. Cannot believe it.
2 hours to go at Le Mans and intense drama. The pressure building. Let's put this in perspective. When Roger Penske's teammate Pedro Rodriguez claimed pole position for their Ferrari in 1963, Penske's last pole here, it was one of 23 cars in the entire race. We've got 23 in hypercar alone these days.
Okay, Brandon, still P6, still P6. Head down.
And of the 23 cars that started in 1963, 12 made it to the end.
And we've nearly got that many on the lead lap, never mind making it to the end. Right, so Brendan Hartley is now 6th after that spin, and 51 Ferrari. Alessandro Pierguidi leaving absolutely nothing on the table. Another savage twitch in the wet as he tries to get through the traffic. His heart-in-mouth stuff everywhere at the moment, on track and up and down the pit lane. So Ferrari 1-2, but with a question mark surely over number 51.
So at this stage, you'd have to say 23 seconds behind the 2 Ferraris is Jose Maria Lopez. I feel we've got some penalties coming Ferrari's way. Might look a bit better for Toyota car number 7 anytime soon.
So 50 is the one we wait to find news of for that unsafe release. 51 we await news for the contact on number 8. So both Ferraris may well find themselves with penalties. May.
Yeah. May do indeed. Everybody now on the right tyre, and I suspect in LMP2 and GT3 that will be the case as well. Not sure anybody is really keen on plugging out this. And the lead group, gentlemen, is as close and as large now as if that was minutes elapsed in the race. 1 hour and 56 minutes in a normal Le Mans 24 hours. In any time in the last 10 or 20 years, if you had a dozen cars battling for supremacy, separated by a second here and a couple of seconds there, and all within the same section of the track, you'd be going, what an epic start to the race. This is 2 hours from the end.
And launching over the curb there, 51 Ferrari, then a Pierguidi. Yeah, if you want an example of how hypercar works, then the evidence is in that, but also, Martin, the level at which the teams operate now, because those amateurish days of so many unreliable cars, that's gone. Of course, it's progress, it's technology, but the level at which they're operating, flat out all the way, not just getting to the end, flat out all the way through as well.
Because the cars don't brake. You have to brake them.
By the way, sorry, back to current race, number 50, what's happening with their door flapping around?
They're waiting until they get a penalty for unsafe release and do it at the same time, although I don't think they can.
I think you can combine the two. Maybe if they can just keep it going until the next pit stop, they can address it then. Until race control want them in, unless they get a black and orange meatball flag to say you've got a problem, the scrutineer wants you in to solve it. If they're happy with the car's pace, leave it out there.
Well, it's nothing to do with pace, it's safety. The door needs to be closed. And we saw that in just the last race in Spa, in the World Endurance Championship in Spa. Neil Janney, the car 99, the door was on the behind the safety car, the door was flapping around, driver desperately trying to close it and keep it closed, and he got the black and orange flag.
Well, let's see where the one comes.
Ignored
here.
it. He ignored the flag and actually managed to close the door and was still in trouble. They were talking about how we connect the door when it comes in. You see that down at Ferrari. So they're concerned by it.
But once they've got a plan, they might call him in. Let's see what happens. First of all, number 7 Toyota, Jose Maria Lopez, third.
Okay, Jose, do you need more TC support? More TC support questions?
No, for the moment, I think it's okay.
Copy.
I actually feel that Jose Maria Lopez is the more kind of difficult the car is to drive. He's one of those drivers. He was a master of touring car. Well, you know better than anyone, David, wouldn't you? Jose Maria Lopez's capabilities in an edgy touring car. The more he does rallying. He does stock car racing back home in Argentina. He loves wrestling the car around. I feel like the wetter it is here for Jose Maria Lopez, the better.
Well, the other thing was the radio message when the car got its second puncture. What's going on with these punctures? They have not forgotten when they were brought in twice because there was a low-pressure tyre alarm, apparently, on the telemetry in the garage, and that allowed Fernando Alonso to win his second Le Mans. That was the paranoia. What's going on with these? Do you want us to fiddle with the settings? No, I'm good. I'm probably over-reading into this, but on the other hand, there is that in the back of in the same way that when we saw Kevin Estre and Alessandro Pierguidi, all their thoughts go back, particularly Estre, to the season finale in GTE Pro when Pierguidi's car punted Estre and Christensen's Porsche out of the way and won the title. So all of that, there's still that antagonism, there's still that history. You don't forget stuff like that. Even if you think it's buried, it'll pop up. So yeah, he may genuinely be happy with the way the car is, but on the other hand, he may not necessarily want an outside force fiddling with it either.
They don't want to see us. They don't want to see what's going on here. They're working on a solution for this door.
And when they've got it, then they'll call him in. They don't want him in until they know what to do.
No, you don't want to stand there for 2 minutes. No. It still won't shut.
Right, there's number 8, Brendan Hartley, rattling over the curb again. Is it all unravelling for number 8 after being tagged into that spin? Still nothing actually has come up on the message line about either the unsafe release or that contact of the two Ferraris.
And you've always got to look at the root of the problem. Why was 51 close to him? It's because of that bad pit stop.
Yeah.
That was the root of the problem. Very similar pace as Brendan to car 51 right now. And 51 shouldn't have been anywhere near him. That dodgy pit stop really was the cause of that problem.
Let's hear from the Ferrari team as they conflab in the garage.
Big rain to come, sector 1 in 15 minutes. Big rain to come, sector 1 in 15 minutes.
Where does that fit in the intense big scale, level 2, level 1?
More than we've got at the moment, so we're not planning, level 3, 4, 5 and or above. We're not planning on bringing you in for slicks anytime soon, and also be aware that in the next 2 or 3 laps when you come past the pits, we might be warning you that it's absolutely soaking ahead of you. I'm sure it's entirely manageable for professional drivers like these in these conditions. Most of the track is probably drier than a wet would ideally like, but some of it is absolutely not slick survivable. So Ferrari 1-2, Toyota in 3rd place, Cadillac in 4th, the best of the Porsches in 5th, the second Toyota in 6th, and 3 more Porsches in the hunt. The first car that is not in the hunt but is still in a points paying position is the 63 Lamborghini. and it doesn't take much fortune with the safety car for that car. Maybe if there's a safety car to get a wave by and get its lap back.
Ferrari through in the lead. Let's eavesdrop next on the race director's radio traffic.
Team manager car 50, team manager car 50, your car has the right-hand side door open. Your car has the right side hand, your car has the right side door open.
He is as tired as us. Now, the difference between Eduardo and us is that Eduardo does not go to sleep.
So the message relayed to the team about the door, so they need to get on and address it.
Rob, 2 hours to go. It's extremely close. We just saw an incident with the Ferrari. It has to be kept clean.
Correct. Can't say more. It was a close fight. They were very close to each other, but I thought there was a clear contact between the 51 and our 8. Not for me to decide, not for me to judge. So up to those who should keep it a clean race.
But 2 hours to go, and it's completely open.
Yes, it is open. The weather conditions are changing, and yeah, let's get fair racing and see where we go. It is tight, and it will stay tight.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Good.
It's Rob Loipo from Toyota Gazoo Racing, and it doesn't need to be any wetter to be a problem, does it? That's the moment just during that interview that the 51 Ferrari of Alessandro Pierguidi just squirreled over the gravel exiting the final chicane.
And what that's allowed is Jose Maria Lopez to catch right up. He's now just 8 tenths behind. There he is, flashing away in the background. He's got a P2 car in the way as well. They're in the mix of it.
Yeah, that's the 22 United Autosports car. Ollie Jarvis leading in LMP2. The car behind him is not for position. DKR's car is 2 laps behind the leader. But in LMP2, we've got a super tight battle. Ollie Jarvis 23 seconds ahead of Ben Barneycoat in the AF Corsa Pro-Am leading car, who's 3 seconds ahead of EDEC Sports' Rached de Giros.
So rain is coming, we need to keep this Toyota behind, The car 50 in front of us have an issue with the door of the car, so we need to keep this Toyota 7 behind us.
Hey, I try my best.
I know, but there might be a big reward at the end of that. So do your best, that's the main goal, keep them behind.
And that next rain, when it comes, is, we are told, going to impact turn 1 all the way round to the exit of Marshall's post 9. So the first part of the lap, heading really from the first corner all the way round Tertre Rouge. So a different element of the racetrack to get wet first.
Yeah, Jose is absolutely flying it, as we said before, loving these conditions. Pierguidi has his mirrors full now of car 7. And that moment, I think, rattled Pierguidi on the exit of the final corner as well. We saw him kicking up all the gravel.
Let's go to Cadillac next. Listen to number 2, Alex Lynn.
More rain expected in 15 minutes. Understood, Alex. Understood, Alex. Just focus. You can do this.
Wiper blade just fell off. All right, well, at speed, less of a drama because the speed drives the water off the windscreen. And yeah, just get on with it, just focus. But there's the heavier rain just gone past. There's a little bit lighter maybe coming in behind, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens.
It's game on, though, isn't it, now, for second place? Pierguidi versus Lopez. The gap as they come over the line, then, is just under 4 tenths of a second. And the way that Lopez is going suggests that Pierguidi is going to have to work very, very hard indeed to fend him off. That Toyota looking very quick indeed up the inside into the Dunlop chicane. They lean on each other. The Ferrari just about makes the corner. Toyota tries to get the undercut, can't do it. That could have ended a lot worse than that. It's still the Ferrari ahead, and now they're hunting for traction as well as both desperately trying to be in second place.
Clean racing, that's what your boss said, Jose. Clean racing.
Don't forget, this is the Toyota that, inside the last 10 laps, has set the fastest lap of the race of any car. So yes, Jose Maria Lopez is fired up and ready to go for the win.
And Alessandro Pierguidi, which we've seen with this fight with Kevin Estre and all the other fights he's had, for that matter, in any other class he's been in, he will turn in on you. You'll have to be ahead of him before you get to the corner, and he pops to the outside. Make sure you get this braking zone correct, Jose, and he is in front and gets the job done into that corner.
And that's
brilliant stuff.
Great stuff. They're on the same age wet weather tyres, aren't they? For the benefit of Karun Chandok and everybody else who's yelling at the TV, how many laps until 50 needs to pit? It's only halfway through the stint, isn't it? So,
where in the rain it changes, obviously. They can do 12 in the dry, so at a guess, I'm going to say 14 in the wet.
And he's done, what, 7? 8 now? So a while still, so they might have to fix the door before they can combine it with a pit stop.
Jose's done 6 laps.
Team manager, car 50. Team manager, car 50. If your driver cannot close the door, bring the car in to repair. It's a safety element. Team manager, car 50. If the driver cannot close the door, bring the car in. It's a safety element.
So Nicholas Nielsen, the race leader, being called to the pit lane. They've got to sort out that door, and they need to then somehow create that pit stop into damage limitations, so they can try and exploit it in some vein.
And can you try to close the door? Can you try to close the door? Otherwise, we have to pit.
I cannot, mate. Give me one more lap. I try, but I honestly cannot.
Okay, let's try again. Next straight.
He's trying. You can tell he's trying there.
He can reach it.
He can reach that, as he had to undo his seatbelts to reach over there.
But they've got that side intrusion panel all the way down the centre of the cockpit, so somehow he's either reaching under it or over it. It hasn't closed yet. It hasn't latched.
Just like the Porsche at Spa.
And again, in the full access programme at Spa, there's the film from the garage of them trying to brief the driver of what to do, which bit to pull to get it to close.
And I cannot. I tried to pull, I tried to push, I tried everything. I think, yeah, the flick is open. I cannot reach it.
So does he come in this time to get it closed? Let's see. Yes, he's in this time.
Leader is in.
Just as he got the black and orange flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it had been a kind of verbal flag, hadn't it, from the race director, Eduardo Freitas, to say you've got to bring the car in. So, have they had enough time to conjure up a magic fix? Let's find out.
Or are they just going to lean on the door and click it shut? It might be as simple as that, but it does mean that Toyota leads Le Mans with 1 hour and 42 minutes to go. Now, I was going to make a point, so I can't remember what it was. Carry on.
It was about gaffer tape. Is it
no, it wasn't. It was about things that we've been notified by race control, or rather things that we have not. No word yet about an investigation of an unsafe release for car number 50. Right. No word yet about an investigation of contact between 51 and 8 that caused the number 8 car to spin. So, that's what it was.
Simple as that.
It hadn't quite, the latch to catch the door had not quite slid back out, and it didn't close. And normally you'll see the mechanics push the door and then just lean on it to click it in, so they feel that contact, not so it's a slam, but so it's a click.
And it was, remember, the car had to be in that pit stop. Originally, it had to be turned on the jack, on the trolleys, on the dollies underneath it. They had to point the nose out before they pulled away, and then they obviously missed it in that moment. Whatever happened in getting the car angled in the pit, they missed closing the door properly. Right. And also, in that confusion, the driver went too early and didn't remember to acknowledge the lollipop. It was a disaster, basically, all because it wasn't a completely standard pit stop.
Upside, downside. Downside, lost the lead down to 5th. Upside, has more fuel than anyone else. And that might make no difference whatsoever, but it's something on which to build a campaign. So now they recalculate back from the end of the race where they are, when their last stop will be.
We are P5 at the moment, P5. Yeah, the lead is not far, mate, the lead is not far. We can do this. You have mega pace in the wet, you can do this.
Yeah, mate, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. Just lead me to it. Just give me necessary information and nothing else.
Will do.
So that pit stop became damage limitation, didn't it?
Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Exactly.
100%. Let me focus on this. I've got an hour and 40 minutes to win this race, and we're coming from behind, but we might just have something. And those extra few laps of fuel might be something. And on the pit lane, in every team...
That's the replay of that drama up at turns 2 and 3 that we saw a moment ago.
Yeah.
That's 51 against 7. The only other thing that might be the fly in the ointment for number 50 is the unsafe release. As you say, that's not yet filtered through the system. But to counter that, of course, there's the incident with number 8 on the sister car.
Number 7 lost a flick up there. Did you see that as well? So if this race were to dry up again, they'll be having a potentially understeery balance.
And more drag if it comes to trying to save an extra lap on fuel. Well, there was the pass that put number 7 in front of 51 at that stage for second place, but the Toyota team already knew that 50's door wasn't closing, and that's why 51, Alessandro Pierguidi, was being told, keep the Toyota behind. He couldn't, but he tried.
And now Lopez is 7 seconds to the good over Pierguidi, so he's caught him, he's passed him, he's pulled away. This car's third, the Cadillac then of Alex Lynn, up into third spot.
Every team on the pit wall now knows where 50, with those couple of laps of extra fuel, will end up compared to them. They all know what we don't, whether they will need to stop one time more than 50 or whether it makes no difference, whether it doesn't give them enough to get there.
Yeah, if the Ferrari, for example, needed a splash at the end of the race, if they all needed a splash of fuel by the end of the race to complete it, for example, well, they might have just got that splash out of the way and fixing it all at the same time.
But if they all need 7 laps, based on when they last stopped, then it's not enough. If they need 5 laps, it might be enough. If they need 2 laps more, it is enough.
But it's all hypothetical anyway, because with more rain coming down, you could have any scenario playing out. We could have another safety car, we could have multiple slow zones, you name it. This is not over yet.
Well, the real worry is that we might end up with a safety car, and that could really just be quite a tough end to the race, because it will cram everybody together in all the categories.
It's raining more.
It is raining more.
And that Cadillac is lapping quicker than Pierguidi ahead by last time 1.8 seconds. So Alessandro Pierguidi being caught by Alex Lynn. He's chipping away. He's getting closer and closer and closer. You were saying this was a non-starter earlier on, but he's still in the mix, that Cadillac. Don't rule him out. I know you said earlier on he hadn't got the pace, but he's creeping back into the mix, partly through others' misfortunes, I'll grant you, but...
No, they're faster. They're faster in the rain than they were in the dry.
Number 12, Callum Isler in 7th, is catching number 8, Brendan Hartley in 6th. Number 5, the Porsche of Matt Campbell, is catching Callum Isler in the number 12 car. So these gaps are coming down. And how much closer is 38's Oliver Rasmussen? Rasmussen was a couple of seconds slower than Matt Campbell, so he dropped behind Campbell on that last lap by a fraction more. But there is still nothing in terms of laps. Honestly, you know, a second or two around a 13.6 kilometre lap. It's insane how tight this is, given how much traffic there is still circulating.
This intensity of rain is due to last for another 20 minutes.
And in race control, they're looking at earlier incidents as well, which might well filter through, just to throw another spanner into the works. 96 minutes of the race remain, that is all. Toyota leads, Ferrari leads, Cadillac. The best Porsche is 4th, Toyota 5th, Porsche 6th, which is the Jota car of Callum Isler. There is the better Porsche from Penske. It is Lawrence Vanthoor at the wheel of it. And even the change of conditions not really helping, because still he is not lapping on the same pace as those ahead. And not that far behind, look, is a very fired up Nicholas Nielsen, who is on an absolute mission now to see what he can salvage out of this race.
Yeah, he was holding the gap earlier on, wasn't he, when Jose was behind him. He wasn't pulling away, but Lopez definitely wasn't catching him. So, yeah, he's going to have to dig extra deep, I feel, is Nielsen, if he's to actually close in on car 7.
Track temperature remains 17.2 degrees, down from the heady heights of 17.6 before it started to rain.
Oh, these winter meetings, great.
And yes, I know. The plum pudding
Yes,
24
exactly.
hours. And for the poor fans, it's back down to 15 degrees and 100% humidity because it is raining. So that's apparently that's not quite 100% humidity when the air is full of water, but there we go. Car 38, Oliver Rasmussen, under investigation for track limits at turn 12, which is the exit of the first chicane. So we are still getting notifications of drivers being investigated for things, but no notification of a potential unsafe relief for the 50 Ferrari or about the contact between the 51 and the 8. And normally we are informed that there is an investigation before we're then informed of the result of that investigation. So does that mean that there is no investigation into either of those?
If you were Toyota,
moments?
you would bring them to the attention of race control, wouldn't you? You would say, have you looked at this? Can I just suggest, could I ask you to have a look?
I'm sure on the Discord all those conversations are happening.
Exactly. They might not be being relayed to us, but I'm sure they are happening.
Who wants to hear some average lap times?
The race
Go on,
control
then.
team busy enough.
I would love to know who's got good speed.
Car 7, average lap time in this stint of 8 laps so far, 3:52.5. Brendan Hartley, car 8, 3:54.7. Alex Lynn, car 2, 3:54.3. Pierre Guidi, 51, did a 3:55.8. He's really struggling. Nick Nielsen averaged a 3:52.9, exactly the same. Well, a little bit slower actually than Jose Maria Lopez. So yeah, Nielsen the second fastest one out there, and Laurent Vantour, by the way, 3:52.9 as well. So Vantour this stint has caught up with Alex Lynn.
Right, first there were 9, now there are 8. Hertz Team Jota's number 38 seems to be being removed from the equation. Why, Martin? Because Oliver Rasmussen has just been given a drive-through penalty for excessive abuse of track limits, and that will take him far enough out of the hunt, although he probably won't lose the lead lap, that he is unlikely to be a contender. However, a safety car would change all of that. Even for a couple of laps, it would make a difference. Look at the cool racing car skating off the corner. That's 37, Vladislav Malte Jakobsen, being chased by Vladislav Lomko. And there's the hug that says, go get him, boy. Sebastian Buemi suited up, ready for the final 90 minutes of Le Mans 2024. Is he going to add another Le Mans victory to his tally in the number 8 Toyota, or will it be one of their 7 other rivals?
Brendan, turn 22, 9th track limit. I think we have to consider changing. We're talking to Seb now.
Sorry. They're not happy to say. How many did I get? I get up to 12, right?
I think the answer there is 12. However, so that was the 12th limit infringement for Oliver Rasmussen, not at turn 12. I thought it was just finger trouble on the keyboards when we were notified. So he's on 9 of 12. Yeah, oh, sorry, okay. And that's why they're going to put Buemi in, because Buemi is fresher, less tired, less likely to critically pick up a penalty. Because those 9 infringements don't stay with the car, they are related to the driver. So you don't immediately put Buemi in with only 3 infringements in the next 90 minutes. It will reset to 0. So there's the logic there. And again, look at this. Cool Racing into Europol. This might be for the win. 37 ahead of 34. Currently 22 United leads. AO by TF right behind is... It must be a lap down. It is a lap down on this battle. That's the pole sitting car. So Toyota lead in the hypercar. United Autosport lead in LMP2, and Vladislav Lomko moves up to 4th place in LMP2. It is Richard Leitz for Manthey EMA in a Porsche that leads in LMGT3. 91 minutes to go here at Le Mans.
Yeah,
whatever you're doing, do not go out.
Malte Jakobsen there. This fight's been raging on for quite some time, Martin, and yeah, it's now inverted after Jakobsen found his way past. in the dry earlier on, but in the rain it seems to be Inter Europol's got the speed. Look at the rain coming down now out of this final corner.
That's the heavy rain that they were forecasting, and that is absolutely pelting.
The pressure you feel as a driver when you're in changeable conditions, you're leading the race. And yeah, Jose Maria Lopez, he's in the zone, but they've got to be on him all the time as to where the rain's coming down, how the radar looks, and he's got to be feeding information for the next driver if they do get in the car, if he's not going to stay in through to the end.
He might stay in. He's got time on his side. He won't exceed 4 hours, at least not in this stint. Interesting little cameo there. Sebastian Buemi, suited and booted. The man who finished the race for Toyota last year, Ryo Hirakawa, in the number 8 car, is clearly not going to get back in, at least not at this stage.
Lopez will have to get out, by the way. He's been in the car a long time. He can't carry on through to the end of the race.
He can do 4 hours in any 6.
He's done 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, it's split up because of the rain, but he's probably done about a triple stint, I'd say.
Yeah, but it's about time. It's not about how many times he stops.
Right, longer lap times in the wet. Goodbye.
Yeah. Anthony Davidson failing to answer the question. There's a racing driver for you. Maybe a future in politics as well. So we'll be joined by Rob Bell as we head into the final 90 minutes of this race. An hour and 29 minutes here on board the 311 Whelen Cadillac. I sense we're going to see it going round. It didn't take an Einstein to figure that one out, did it? He clumped the curbs in the Dunlop chicane, and around it went. So Ryo Hirakawa there on the right, the man who was targeted to chase the 51 Ferrari in the closing stages last year. But Sebastian Buemi in the 8 car, he's the man who's going to take over.
I can't see anything without the wiper blade.
Yeah, he's lost his wiper blade, the number 2 Cadillac, so no effective windscreen wiper.
That's not what you want to see and not what you want to hear as a driver.
No.
Absolutely not.
There, you can clearly see it. The wiper blade has gone for the number 2 Cadillac, so no wiper blade on that car.
Just shows you the small details we've got. Cars being put down the order because they can't shut a door, and windscreen wipers falling off. It's the smallest details are making a big difference in this race. Absolutely.
And sometimes it's the silly things, isn't it? You know, it's a wiper blade. What road car did it come from? What motor factors did it come from? You know, these things are not purpose-built, super design.
Trouble for the
Vector Sport
car over and out of the gravel trap.
Stefan Riquelme holds on to his position. Marty Jakobsen, the next guy behind, is actually in the pits, so due to go about a lap down. There's the number 6 Porsche in 4th place. There's the caddy with the blue nose. So 3rd and 4th, there they are. Rear left puncture for the number 5 Porsche. So 38 potentially out with a drive-through penalty. Number 5 Porsche potentially out of the hunt with a puncture. So that's going to cost him time. Are we down now from 9 to 7 possible winners with 87 minutes to go? That's been a busy 5 minutes for our slight outliers, hasn't it?
Big wiggle there for the number 6 Porsche coming through. Big wiggle. These are getting increasingly difficult conditions, Rob Bell. Heavy rain behind us in the outer paddock.
Yeah, that didn't look like the car just looked lazy there when it transitioned from one side to the next. And we've seen that, you know, when these rain tyres do get a bit heat into them. A lot of cars squirming around there. We've seen this the whole race. Not necessarily in the Toyotas, though. It's the Ferraris and the Porsches that seem to be affected the worst.
Same kind of issues, by the way, going on in GT. Iron Dames coming under increasing pressure from the second of the Proton Mustangs, Christopher Mies. Remember, hugely experienced, but a Le Mans rookie, closing on Michelle Gatting. And he's in the 44, the yellow Proton Mustang. She's in the Iron Dames, the pink and white Lamborghini for 4th place. And another Mustang ahead. What a debut for the Mustang GT3 here.
Really impressive, you know, at the moment, the 88 car in a podium position. Going to be a little bit of headphone swapping in a moment or two. We're going to hoik out one man in a McLaren jacket. Rob Bell, are you going to, you can stick there and we'll invite some guests on air. Graham.
We will indeed. We're going to have two rapid-fire guests from effectively the same concern. We've got Michael Leiters, the fairly recently appointed CEO of McLaren Automotive.
2 years ago.
Is that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Michael, what a return for McLaren this has been. We've got the hyperpole for Inception. Bear with us a second while we listen to the Cadillac.
7 seconds clear ahead, 7 seconds clear to the Ferrari. Box, racing line 8.
Give us a few impressions of your return to this amazing event with McLaren.
So, first of all, we are super excited because for us it's a very, very important moment. For us, LMP3 and especially Le Mans is full of emotions, full of successes for us. And we are happy to be back. This is a category we believe strongly in because it's our road car. We are racing here and we can show that these road cars are quick and reliable. So definitely very excited. Obviously not the outcome we wanted to have, but we take also a lot of positive things from us from it. So we made the hyperpole in our category. We have been, I would say, reasonably quick. With a little bit of good luck, maybe we could target for a podium. But then, unfortunately, we had 2 failures, and we have to investigate what happened then.
Early days for this program, this partnership with United Autosports and LMGT3. You liking what you're seeing in terms of that partnership, in terms of the class, in terms of where the championship is heading?
No, absolutely. I think it's a strong partnership. Obviously, it's the first year for us, so we both have to learn a lot. Also for United, it's a new category. I think the category is quite competitive, as you see today and during the season. But again, I think there's everything there. Maybe today it was more about managing our cars in certain conditions, like driving behind this safety car for so long, having, let me say, cold conditions. We saw that actually the first time so heavily, so definitely again to learn, but nothing concerning and nothing which we can't fix. It's only learning.
Final major question for you, Michael, is about the reason why manufacturers come racing, and that is to make sure that you've got a loyal customer base that still want to come back and buy more of your products. It is very early days. What kind of response are you getting from the customers you've got with you here and for customers wanting to see more?
No, definitely they want to see more. They are excited about the program and having this experience together with us. For us, in our DNA, in our core values of our brand, we have also the belonging. And belonging to the McLaren family and having these experiences is super exciting. And I mean, in general, this event is so fantastic. It's so engaging. It's pure motorsport. So our customers are super happy, and we too.
Just before we introduce our second guest, just to talk through the pit stop for the charging number 2 Cadillac. Alex Palou poured the car after a stellar stint earlier on before the rain. Sitting alongside you now, sorry Martin, you're about to say?
Yeah, driver change, I think El Bamba taking over.
That's Alex Palou, I think.
Oh, that's Alex Palou, is it? Okay,
yeah.
So yeah, driver change and fresh set of wets as well. So this is the car that came in from 3rd place, drops down towards the tail of our contenders, and he'll probably come out in 7th. Number 12, Hertz Team Jota, also in the pits at the moment.
And they are putting a new blade on that wiper arm. That should hopefully help things. It's going to delay this for a few seconds.
Well, anybody who's changed their wiper blades at home knows that it takes about 5 minutes, and you don't do it with gloves on either. So that's a quick job.
Well, Michael, you're the road car side of things. Delighted to also have alongside us the man in charge of the racing side of the McLaren brand. Zach Brown, great to have you back with us. You've got sort of two irons in the fire here. You've got a jacket on there with the McLaren brand and another brand you're intimately involved with, co-owner of United Autosports. Tell us a little about the adventure so far, not just this year, but this weekend with United.
It's been awesome. First, it's been amazing to come back to Le Mans with McLaren. It's been quite some time. To do it with Michael and the whole automotive team is been awesome. Very proud of the effort. 20 hours, we're running at the front. The car was super fast. Conditions were tricky, so fell a few hours short. But I think for a debut on a decision that was made, relatively late, I think we got to be very proud of what the McLaren GT3 car did with both cars. Of course, we've got our LMP2. We had a challenge early on. One car knocked out of contention pretty early, but still going. But sitting here staring at the timing chart, being in the lead of LMP2, I'm not sure with it pouring rain adds a little bit of anxiety to the last 1 hour and 19 minutes and 40 seconds, but who's counting?
There's not one single viewer watching in the moment that wouldn't want me to ask an open question to you gentlemen. There's two classes in the FIWC. It's stacked. It's been an astonishing race here at Le Mans. There's surely hunger to be in that top class.
We are open to it.